Hi there, this is Tyler. The October 2020 GCOG, the Gauntlet Gaming Convention, Open Gaming Convention. If you've watched any of my stuff, you know I play with the Gauntlet a lot because there's a ton of wonderful people. We have a lot of games up. We usually have 100 games a month. We run these Open Gaming Conventions every 3 months or so. We have wonderful people making games and making podcasts, and we have a zine, and it's a lot of fun. It's a ton of fun. And if you enjoy the hobby, you'll find that it's a welcoming, friendly, safe place to come and play. And if you're interested, you can find us at gauntlet-rpg.com, or you can go on Facebook and look up the Gauntlet. We're around, and we always love to see new people. And it's the sort of place that come in and you'll find games to play. And one of the nice things is they'll make. You'll come in, you'll sign up for a game, and you can be pretty certain you're going to get a chance to play. Now, we're going to be playing one of my favorite PBTAs of all time. We're playing Monster of the Week, which most of you who know my stuff know I run it a good bit. And this one is in part of my Dalton series, which is inspired by Old Gods of Appalachia podcast. It is a small town in Kentucky, Dalton, Kentucky, which is located inside the mountains there in the backwoods. And it takes place, a lot of these different sessions take place at different times, but this one we're going to be playing takes place right now. It takes place on October the 17th, 2020. So pretty much we're playing to see what happens in Dalton. Now I'm going to have our players introduce themselves and tell you what playbook they're making. And then I'm going to give them a little time to finish putting those playbooks together while I explain a little something about what our adventure or mystery is like. So, Pavel, let's start up there, and I'm going to go clockwise around. Introduce yourself and tell us your playbook.
Hello, good morning, because it's morning for me. I'm Pavel, I use he, him pronoun, and I'm going to play as of yet unnamed expert. Now I should find a name probably. Yeah, that's me.
Excellent, thank you. And moving on over to you, Kay.
Hi, I'm Kay, and tonight I will be playing our as of yet to be named Spooky. And I do a lot of RPGing. Absolutely love it. I'm really excited to play with Tyler, not once, but also a bit later this weekend as well. And currently, similar to Monster of the Week a little bit, I would play in a regularly podcasted GG Gehenna gaming game of Monster Hearts 2. It's every Monday. We just finished our first season, and on the 26th, we will start a second season of the show. Although this Monday, depending on when this gets out, we will have a hosting of Urban Shadows on Gehenna Gaming on Twitch.
Awesome, thank you. Love both those games. I will definitely have to go check that out. And Bryant, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hey, y'all. So I'm Bryant. I use he, him pronouns. Super stoked to be in this game. This is my first time. This weekend is my first time gaming with the Gauntlet. And I got to tell you, everything Tyler said has been completely true so far. So really stoked to be here and gaming with y'all.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
And I'm playing a flake.
That's right. So I'm going to give y'all a little bit of time to start picking your moves, get all that, get your stats together. And I'm going to explain a little bit about Dalton, Kentucky. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
No problem. I just had one question about sort of combat level, right? Is this likely to be a combat heavy game, combat light game, or it depends on what we bring to it?
It depends what you bring to it. I will say that in general, it has been a lot more investigative and talky. But there has been, every session I've run so far, there has been at least one bit of combat. Awesome. I will say that the way I run this, some people see it as a little bit like X-Files. Some people see it a little bit like Buffy. This one I like to run with the idea that finding out is probably your best weapon. Learning what's going on is your best weapon. Cool. And then making that decision how you're going to act from there.
Super cool. That fits exactly with the direction I was hoping for. Thanks.
Good. Just to tell you a little bit about Dalton. Dalton is deep in the hollers and hills of Kentucky. Cell phone reception, pretty spotty. The little tiny downtown has no more than a dozen or so buildings. You have a couple of bars. Always got to have a couple of bars. You have the Piggly Wiggly grocery store. You have a hardware store, general store. You have the library, which is also home to the Historical Society, as well as their tiny little town newspaper, which prides itself in making sure they have an edition out once a week. Dalton is a very old town. Like many Appalachian little hamlet, villagey towns, it was settled in the early 1700s, but obviously the area around it was inhabited by other people long before Europeans came and settled and ripped away the land from them. But Dalton, this holler, these hills, were even then considered a little odd. The Native Americans did not settle permanently in the valley where Dalton lies, and legends still remain of how Dalton's valley would be. It had a habit of confusing people that went there. It had a habit of people going there and not coming back out. The Native Americans were probably smarter than the settlers were, because the settlers decided to build a town there. And from the early 1700s through to the 1800s, mostly it was hard scrabble farms. These were Scotch-Irish during the beginning, but later would be Germans, Irish, even some English, who settled in. And these families have stayed there pretty much the whole time. There are generations and generations of families who have lived here in Dalton. And it's not a big town, probably no more than 1,000 people in the general area around it. And life was hard for those early settlers. Trying to make a farm on a big rocky hill is not easy. So when the mines first came in, it seemed like a godsend, right up until you start having to go down the mines. This is not a place where they were mining up, high value metals. This is where you dug coal, and you dug it deep. And the coal dust would get into their lungs. The mines were dangerous. The companies were not particularly caring of the employees. And so through the 1800s, people lived half their lives underground in many cases. And they got themselves in debts with the company, and it never seemed like they could get out from underneath them. Then the mines ran dry. By the time we'd get to the turn of the 1900s, weren't too many mines working. Hills were still dotted with them up there. Names that still ring true. Mama's Heart, the Cash Money, all of these shafts that now were just empty relics of a past time. Round there, though, they adapted. They started logging, and once again, these companies would come in, and they didn't treat the land or the people particularly well. They stripped off a whole bunch of forests in the whole area around this part of Kentucky. But in the Dalton Valley, even these money-hungry companies that came to log would find that there were forests that you just didn't go into. You'd take in a crew to go and cut them down, and they'd come back saying they heard voices, saw things, or didn't come back at all. So Dalton still has some pretty old growth forests around it. Lumber's still a part of what makes Dalton to get its cash, but now it's mostly independent families, and they're going for more of specialty than they are for big strip logging. Along with that, though, in the 1900s, especially after World War II, people started coming for the skiing. And that's what's made Dalton pretty much have the ability to feed and keep people probably living the best they ever have in Dalton. There are a couple of ski lodges, but even in summer, people come for the hiking. Now, if you looked at the statistics, around Dalton, people go missing more than most places. But, it's dangerous to go up in those mountains. People stumble, people get lost. And, of course, Some folks are just trying to hide out. But Dalton got a little bit of a reputation for people going missing more often than other places. Now, we're in October, so the ski season is just beginning, and that means that one of the bars is hopping. They have a tourist bar here. They call it the Stag and Briar, and that's where folks that don't live around here go. They have the shots, and they have the rowdier music. They bring in bands. The other bar is just called the Stand. That's where the locals go. Pretty much, if you don't come from Dalton, you don't go to the Stand. They aren't unfriendly, but they sure ain't friendly to you. So people tend to keep to themselves around Dalton. Tourists are outsiders. If you hadn't been here, and your parents hadn't been here, and your grandparents hadn't been here, then you're really not a Dalton native. Takes a while for them to warm up to folks. And takes even longer for them to start telling you the secrets. Now, this, as we head into October, we have a couple of folks, 3 in fact, people who've gone missing. 2 of them are tourists who came into town. Pull out my notebook here. One of them is a man named Brian Lotz. He's 41, came in skiing, and his friends said that they just turned around on the slopes and he was gone. Don't know where he's been, but he's been gone now for about 3 weeks. Then a week later, a man by the name of Mark Stockton, he was 36, went missing. Now, folks in Dalton say he might have been looking for trouble because he was going out to film bears. Now, around Dalton, those are black bears. They're not as big as a grizzly, but they'll get a hold of you. And, nobody in Dalton would be dumb enough to try and take pictures of a black bear heading into hibernation because they'll eat about anything then. He's been missing for 2 weeks. The police have been looking into it. We have a sheriff. His name is Sheriff Dale Cosgrove, and he has a deputy, Sherry Manson. They went and did all that they could do, but all these yes, sir.
One question. Would you have a handout for us with all those cool NPC names and descriptions, or do you want us to know it? Because I already forgot the first NPC name.
I'll put them in here on our NPCs as a name.
Awesome.
So we had Brian Lotz, who was the skier who went missing, and we had Mark Stockton, who was the nature photographer who has gone missing.
We have an age for Mark. Do we have an age for Brian?
Yes, 41.
41, thank you.
But it's the third person who went missing, and I'm going to put her name in here. Tammy Blaylock.
Blaylock. Ooh, that's a cool name.
Now, she's only 19, and she's a local. Smart girl. She's probably going off to college. She just graduated from high school. She went missing about a week ago, and that's got the town really up. And that's why Sheriff Cosgrove called in the Kentucky Department of Criminal Investigations. Now, that particular department looks into mostly corruption inside the government, tax evasion, some bootlegging, but they also look into human trafficking. And Sheriff Cosgrove, now he's only been in Dalton for 3 years, so most people around here don't really think he knows what Dalton's like. He thinks that might be the problem, that it might be someone snatched this girl. So he's called in the law from Lexington to try and come in and look it over. The 3 of you can be from here in Dalton. You can be from outside Dalton, hearing about this or just passing through and finding out about it. Or you could be part of the department's team that's sent in. That is completely up to you. And so when we introduce those characters, you can let me know that. Let's see. And I will put in here our sheriff's name. Oops, there we go. Oops, where did I'm sorry. I think I shifted things over, didn't I? See if I can. Oh, crud. Laylock.
Quick question.
Yes,
Deputy Sherry, is she local?
she is.
So she's born bred local, like we don't consider the sheriff.
Correct.
We consider her. Okay, cool.
And there's Dale Cosgrove. And Dale is from one of the big cities off on the coast, probably somewhere like Richmond. He was a city policeman who wanted to get away from all that pressure, came out here. When the former sheriff retired, and I'll put her name in here because she is really one of my favorite characters around. Let me put in Sherry. Sherry Manson. And then we have our former sheriff, Mavis Turnbull. And Mavis, she came from outside of Dalton as well. But that was a long time ago. She came in and was sheriff for close to 30 years. She's now 84 and retired. She runs a little boarding house here in town. And most folks will say she was the best sheriff they ever had. Most people don't even remember that she was a Yankee. So we have those folks in as our kind of NPCs for us to start off with. And we've heard our situation. So I'm interested to know what your playbook's shaping up like. Tell us a little bit about what they look like, if they're local, if they're part of the department, or if they're just coming in to investigate, and tell us your moves. And then we'll do that all the way around. Then we'll come back and we'll do those history questions so that we have a little connection. I'm going to go back the other way. I'm going to start with you, Brian. Why don't you tell us about your character?
Yeah, so I'm playing Zachary Moore, pretty young, early 20s. I haven't pinned it down beyond that. Don't think he did go to college. I think he grew up around here, went to high school around here, did not go away to college. Kind of a geek, right? Skinny guy. He's heard bits and pieces. He's got an idea that there's something weird going out there. And this is part of why I didn't go to college. He wants nothing more than to find out more about it, right? He's wide-eyed, right? His eyes are out, he wants to see everything he can. And he hasn't yet learned that seeing everything you can is not necessarily a survival skill in this day and age.
Excellent. What moves have you picked? And just to say for folks, if you don't have them all picked right now, if somewhere during the course of play, one of them, you could have a space open, that's really going to fit in. You can plug them in then. But Brian, did you have any picked?
Yeah, sure did. So I'm going for the sort of a see patterns theme, right? So I started out with connect the dots, which is the start of the mystery move. Suspicious mind, if somebody lies to you, you know it, right? He's in tune with what's going on around him. And then net friends, he knows a lot of people on the internet.
Excellent.
Right? So he can call in, if he gets a good roll, he can call in help if he needs to.
I love it. I love that connect the dots move. And so let's remember at the start of the session to roll that.
And then I took sensitive as my use magic move, which allows me to open up my brain to the psychic environment.
Lovely. Oh, that's fantastic. Kate, what do we got for you?
Can I ask a question to
yes,
Zachary? So, Zachary, does your character even know that monster exists? Is he a monster hunter, or is he...
That's a really good question. He knows in his heart that monsters exist. He's seen stuff, but he hasn't been able to prove it to anybody. Right? Yes. So, he's got an unreasonable, not entirely rational belief in monsters. Has he seen anything? Has he seen weird shadows that aren't actually anything? Yeah, it's probably more like that. But he'd tell you he's seen them.
Okay, so we probably need a good connection too, because from nothing. Okay.
And probably also you'll have encountered, Zachary, that some folks, when you start talking about that stuff, they tend to quiet down.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. That's really weird.
Perfect. All right, Kay, tell us about your character.
I'm so excited because my character is Preston Mayfield, he, him, and he is the antithesis of Zachary. Well, Zachary is very eyes wide open. Preston is doing everything he like can to keep his eyes shut while something is clawing at them. He is the spooky. He is defined as a man, pained eyes, neat clothes, although I've edited a little to neat clothes, though starting to fray. So he is local. He is also very young. He is 19. He actually just graduated and knows Tammy very well. He was valedictorian, very bright. Similarly, they probably attended AP classes together. And he was supposed to go away to med school, to start pre-med at the start of this year, but he started going through some stuff and had to delay and is still at home, although he still very much intends to sort of go out east to one of those big colleges, but he's just gotta deal with a little something first.
Excellent. And what moves did you take?
So he has taken premonitions,
Hmm.
juice, and tune in.
Nice. And did you keep with the straight magic set, or did you take one of the weirdnesses?
I think I'm gonna stick with the straight magic set.
That's an excellent choice. All right. And with your moves, do you also have a start of session?
Yes, premonitions is a start of session.
That's right. All right, cool. And I'm going to pop just a second before I get to you, Pavel, to put Tammy's name in here because I had her in there already. I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. All right, Pavel, why don't you introduce us to your character, please?
So I am playing Lars Falkenberg. He is, judging from the photo I picked, I think he's in his 40s or 50s. So I'm trying to see how we all fit together. I thought he's from the outside, but seeing that the two others are from the town, I think Lars has moved out. His family is probably still here, so he comes, probably his mother and father are still here, or maybe let's leave it only that his dad is still alive. He's from Dalton, so he comes here every now and then, for Christmas and for other events, but he's in general hunting elsewhere. He probably had a career at the university that, the university doesn't believe in someone hunting monsters and wanting to prove that they exist and how to fight them. So he had to, leave the university and go gather knowledge on his own.
Excellent. So when did he move away from Dalton? How old was he?
I think you are 19 or 20 when you go to college.
Mm-hmm.
So for about 20 years, he's in and out, mostly out, but maybe some folks still remember him. Oh yeah, you're the kid from the 6th grade who were together, something like this. Because also choosing the name, I think he probably has like German citizenship, but only because of his birth. His parents are probably like German immigrants.
So they're relatively recent immigrants.
His parents are true German. He only has citizenship and speaks German because of his parents, but maybe he was there for some time. Hard to say, but yeah, that's what I imagine for him.
Okay, that's excellent. And when I say recent, for Dalton, that's just anybody who wasn't born here. So,
Oh, yeah.
But so your family probably would be starting to, when you were growing up, you would have heard the weirdnesses a little bit, but still would have had that kind of disconnect. The locals still would have not quite let you in on the secrets.
Yeah.
Do you think you saw something weird here in Dalton before you left that put you on the path of hunting monsters? Or did you discover the supernatural once you had left?
I think Lars knew that maybe he saw something, maybe he was part of something, but then he left. He basically wanted to like prove and see that the weird things are out there in the in the other parts of the country. But he never really like digged in very deep in here. But we'll see what we'll choose with the history, because I'm not sure which way I'll be going. So we'll see, because I have either Eldritch Cult or something else. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. And have you picked some moves?
Preparedness, because I always like it to have to search my pockets for something unusual or rare. And Dark Path, because like I mentioned, he might have dabbled in some Eldritch Cults or other stuff, and then he reformed into hunting the things rather than summoning the things.
Oh,
and I decided that to replace magic with weird science. Not sure how useful it will be, but man, who doesn't like to build himself, I don't know, some weird device?
Oh, I love it. Is your weird science, is it like future things, or is it kind of a melding of the magic and the technology?
I was thinking MacGyver stuff.
That's cool. Nice.
The A-team. You go to the you go to the garage and you come out with like a machine gun from the electric screwdriver and something else, and this kind of level.
Awesome. That's fantastic. All right. So it sounds like we've heard a little bit about these people, and I'm going to give it. You're all at least from here in one degree or another. Two of you are very much immersed in Dalton, so we're going to get some information coming up here in just a second of things that you know deeper. But I think first, why don't we establish some connections between folks? So, Brian, Zach has a list of history questions. Which one of those kind of attracts you? Which one do you like? And then we'll see if it fits someone.
I think I like they're somehow tied into it all. I've been keeping an eye on them. And I'm going to point that at Preston, if that's okay with you, Kay. There's something going on with that kid.
So, Kay, which one of your history questions do you like for Preston?
So I like they taught you to control your powers to the extent that you can control them at all.
Who do you think? Think that was Lars at one of his visits? Certainly one of the most immersed.
Yeah, I think that could definitely fit. Has Lars been here at all in the past 6 or 7 months, or has he been away a long time?
I think he might have been. Being a monster hunter isn't a stable job. So there were a few months a bit low. So he probably spent some time at his father's.
Yeah, I think maybe the last time you visited, I offered to buy you a drink. I feel like Preston's parents own a very well-known lodge that his great grandparents built with their own bare hands here.
Oh, I love it.
And I think he last time you were here, he invited you for a drink, which was hot chocolate because he is under the age of 21, and just sort of attempted to subtly pick your mind, but you could also tell I don't know how much you're 40, so I don't know how much you were hanging around or knew some of the more younger local kids, but if you did keep any eye on that, you would have seen he definitely looked a bit more gaunt, a bit darker in the eye. The hem sleeves of his shirt had little nitpicks and bubs off of it, a small hole, which would have, if you had known him at all, would be very, he's usually very polished and things like that.
So I want to ask Lars, when this young man came up and was kind of picking your brain, I think you have the kind of insight where you could sense something strange about Preston. What would be the advice you gave that helped Preston to control, to be able to handle these burgeoning powers?
Hmm. Hmm. I think that I borrowed Preston uh, an old book. This is one of the books you probably don't find it on Amazon, but it's probably definitely like Magic for Dummies, except it looks old. It looks old. It looks occult, and God knows where he found it. He probably borrowed Preston the book and said, maybe you should take a read and take your way slowly through it. But maybe this will make sense for you.
So like a magical primer.
Yeah.
The OG
I like
for
that.
dummies.
Excellent.
I think
Okay,
it's-
I like that
I like that,
relationship.
yeah. Something he's very embarrassed about. He keeps it hidden. He's probably done that thing that you do for books where you take like colored paper and you put it on top and you fold it around so no one can actually tell what the book is. So we can lie and say it's like this intricate bio-based textbook. Oh no, you don't want to actually look at this. It's boring.
That's fantastic. Cool. All right, Pavel. Lars, one of his history questions. What calls to you there?
I feel that I really need some strong connection to Zachary because otherwise we are the perfect team to you all meet at a tavern. So I think I would like to ask Zachary to be my distant. Do you have something better than distant relation?
Yeah, I certainly don't mind if you want to make it a closer relationship, Uncle Lars.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that you are a son of my brother or something.
That works. I've been thinking of my family as relatively poor, right? Especially if Preston's like a little bit in the upper class. I think that's maybe another interesting contrast. So if that works for you, Pavel.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
So we're saying that this is actually a blood relation?
Yeah, I think Zach is my nephew.
That sounds neat to me. Does that work for you, Brian?
Yeah, that's perfect. I dig that.
And I think that just to kind
One
of give us,
curiosity.
pardon me, yes.
If he is your brother's son, why do you have different last names?
I suppose my I think that maybe my brother wanted to break from his origins.
Oh, very cool. He Americanized himself.
Oh yeah, that's cool actually.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So he probably took the wife's name.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's wild.
I love
and
that.
I think it's for me to interject a little something. I think your mother, Zach, is from one of these very native, been here forever families of Dalton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with a name like Moorbed on it. So,
Yeah.
I think my dad would be kind of pissed if he knew I was talking to you.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, so there's a little estrangement. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
As we know, Zach cannot leave well enough alone.
I love that so much.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to give us just a little bit of information because each of you have a slightly different viewpoint of how Dalton is. We'll start with Preston because you knew Tammy and you're probably, the circles are all upset, very upset that she's disappeared. You would have known her family. There is her mother, whose name is Doris, and her father, whose name is Robert. And I can put those in there real quick. I'll put Robert and Doris Baylock. All right. And they are, of course, at their wits' end.
Yeah, they're super.
And they, have had search parties. They've been really riding the sheriff's ass about finding her, and they were probably what pushed him to call in the state department, the state police. And you would know that, first off, Tammy, very, very smart girl, probably was the one that gave you a run for your money
Yeah,
for
she's probably my
valedictorian.
yeah, she's probably my salutatorian.
Right. And she was very familiar with these hills. The family had been here forever. She's not someone who would just get lost. You also know that she's in a relationship, and this is something, Zach, you would know as well, that kind of the high school sweethearts, her boyfriend is a boy named Luke Rollins, who is the football star. And while she was going to be probably going off to Lexington to University of Kentucky, he was going to a junior college to play football. She was super smart. He played football, but he was a nice young man. His father, his name is Marvin, and I'm going to put both of them in there because they are worth remembering. Luke Rollins and his father, Marvin.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke is absolutely certain that something had to have happened. She would not get lost. People that talk about that she just ran away, she would have never done that. She isn't going to leave me. She's got a future. She wouldn't have done that. Yeah. And the rumors around town is that every day he's going down different trails. He's looking everywhere for her constantly. And you know, her best friend, I'm going to put her name in here. Her name is Sissy Pritchett. And that's Tammy's best friend. And Preston, you would have heard that she's upset. She noticeably is upset. She's spending a whole lot more time trying to comfort Luke than really look for Tammy. She's been going over and trying to get him to eat, bringing food. But again, she's clearly upset, but she's really worried about Luke a whole lot too.
All right. Can I ask a bit of questions about this?
Absolutely.
So, in terms of with the spooky, there's this whole dark side thing, and what it feeds to you. And one of the ones that I had chosen was secrets. And knowing these people like I do, there's a good chance that people would have probably seen us at the local diner, literally the four of us having milkshakes. I imagine this kind of group. And the fact that this darkness has been whispering things to me for the last several months, things of that nature. Does Sissy have intentions on Luke?
You know very well she has a crush on Luke.
Yeah.
Now, she and Tammy are super close. She, and Luke and Tammy had been together for years.
Ages, yeah.
But probably what you know more than that is that Sissy's mama Babs, she's a difficult lady. Some would say she's downright mean. And she raised Sissy from a kid. Sissy's dad died. Mysterious circumstances. You're not real sure how. But Babs, you've seen Babs try and get them together. Luke, you should take Sissy here to the dance or that sort of thing. And they'd laugh it off. Well, I'm with Tammy, that sort of thing. But Babs always sort of seemed like she wanted to push them together.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might have blanked out for a moment. Who's Marvin? Because Luke is Tammy's boyfriend, and Marvin
is Luke's dad, his father.
And which one of them is going into the forest looking for her?
And Preston, you know him. He's a large African American boy, 6'4", nothing but muscles, knows these hills.
Yeah.
And again, a really sweet person, a good friend, good probably.
Yeah, I've probably tried tutoring him a bunch to little to no avail, but I'm the reason he's probably still on the team.
Yeah.
I've gotten his grades just high enough. Between me and Tammy, both always pressing him
Right. That's how he was able to get to junior college.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go over to you, Zach. that, and this is something probably the young folks aren't being told as much, but the word around town is, well, in October, the black dog starts howling. Up in the hills, you'll hear it. And there's people whispering that it must have been the black dog that's gotten these people. Must have got Tammy. Now, the scientists, the smart men from up in Lexington say that it's just the way the wind moves through the hills, and that it'll hit some of these mine shafts, and that's what makes it sound like a howl. But, they don't know Dalton. And the old wives all say that the hound's out there and that the hound will hunt in October. So you've been hearing that as a rumor that's going around. You've also heard that up near the lodges, a couple of the tourists have seen something big, black, almost like it's made of shadow. A couple of them were talking about it being a wolf, but there's no wolves left in Dalton. And they talk about its red eyes. Now,
I got notebooks full of this. I'm tracking all of this. I write it down. I've got the date I heard it. I've got the date it happened. I've got the names. I'm annoying to tourists. It's terrible.
And I want to ask, there's one other person I'm fixing to add. Then I'm going to stop adding folks to our list here because, boy, we've got a cast. We may encounter some more, but I'm going to put one more name up here, and I'm going to ask if you know her, Zach. Because you might be the one who would. Possibly Preston, but Preston's a little young for this. Granny McLean. She's the last of the McLean clan. That's one of the first families that ever was in Dalton. And people say she's over 100. They also say she's a witch. She'll come into town and nobody crosses her path. But if you got a route you need cast, or somebody's giving you the evil eye, then you'll go see Granny. Do you know her?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know Granny. Everybody knows Granny. I'll tell you, right, when I was 6, maybe 7, I can't totally remember, Granny took one look at me and she said, Zach, you take that candy back to the store where you lifted it from right now, and we won't tell your parents about that. And if she knew about that, that's how I know she's right about the black dog. Stands to reason.
There you go. So I think it's fair to say that you know Granny, and it's a friendly enough relationship, as in, you're not one of the ones that's scared won't ever go to her house, right?
Yeah, not at all. No, I go there when I get the chance. I'm respectful. I don't want to burn up all of her time. But, and I bring her something because that's what a polite young man does.
And you know that nothing makes her happier than if you bring a bottle of Jack Daniels.
I do know that. Ever since I've been old enough to buy it, I've been getting more stories out of her. It's great.
Perfect. Now, Lars, you're a seasoned monster hunter.
Yes, I like to say that.
But Dalton, have you ever hunted monsters around here? There's certainly a lot of stories.
Not really. I always hoped and thought that home is safe.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love shattering that. So coming into town, and probably when you're seeing your father, so we're going to kind of get the feeling you've come into town a week or so ago. You've started seeing these things going on, and your father would have said to you, son, they're talking about that black dog, that story, that tale these folks tell around here.
What about it, Dad?
Well, I don't go in for those sort of superstitious things, but all these folks around here say that, well, they say it's been around for 100 years or more, maybe 2. And they say it's, well, I don't like to listen to these sort of things, but they say it's spirit of a woman that was wronged.
Well, that I like proof over suspicion. Do you know anyone who might know more? I know that there was this like old creepy lady. Anyone else that might confirm or deny it?
Oh, that Miss McLean, she might know something, but like you say, it's about proof. It's about proof. I bet you the records over at the Historical Society of the library, that sort of thing, you could find out the real truth about it. And I think you probably have been, that seems like a place you would have visited growing up. It probably would be, I mean, you're a studious type. And so that over there they have records going back all the way to the beginning of the 1700s for every family. They have all of the articles from the newspaper going well back into the 1700s. They keep up with all that sort of thing. So, with that in mind, I think I'm going to frame our first scene, and I think I'm going to bring folks together, a couple of folks together here, because I think it's getting towards afternoon, and Zach, your dad has asked you, said, when you go over to Pop's house, take him a few things. I hear Lars is in town.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he comes.
I hadn't heard that.
Well, he breezes in.
Yeah, no, I hadn't heard anything about it. Well, he's it's a free country.
I suppose it is. But just go in and check on Pops. I got some groceries, some things from the last little bit of the harvest. A little bit of something just to check on him, and we'll tell Lars I said hey, and if he wants to come by the house, door's always open for family.
Sure. If I see him, I'll certainly tell him. I don't know that I will, but if I do, I will.
And so you show up, and indeed, out front is Uncle Lars's RV.
Now, can I spend my time walking over there thinking about the wider patterns using Connect the Dots to get that one?
And I think now will be your spot for beginning a session.
All right, and that's plus sharp. Total of 8. So that's hold 1.
All right. Excellent. And Preston, when I get a scene with you, I believe you have a start of, so we'll do it when we do your first scene. All right. So you head on up to the door. Of course, this is Grandpa's house. You don't have to knock.
Sure.
And Lars, what are you doing when Zach comes in?
Probably cooking, preparing food for me and for Dad.
All right, Zach. There's Uncle Lars. Y'all
hey,
have
Pa.
a little chat.
Hey, Uncle Lars, how you doing?
Oh, Zach. So good to see you. Please, yes, come in. Make yourself welcome.
Yeah, no, I will. What are you cooking? That looks weird.
Just a soup from all of those vegetables I brought with me when I came from the better supplied part of the country.
All right, I guess. Hey, Dad said hi, and you could come over anytime, but it was that way he says things when he doesn't really want them to happen. So if it comes up, I pass it along. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Cool.
So, Zach, would you happen to know some of those? And I would probably lower the voice. Would you happen to know some of those people who went missing? I heard that some girl went missing recently.
Oh
Have you
yeah,
heard?
Tammy. No, she was a couple years behind me. I don't know her real well or anything, but I mean, it's a small town. I know her.
So what's your take on it? I heard sheriff is calling some police to come to town.
That's
Trafficking.
dumb. I don't see how police are going to find anything because they're going to do what police always do, which is come in and they're going to be like, oh, it's meth dealers, or oh, it's like, I don't know, city stuff, right? But it's not that. I mean, there's things up in the hills, right? Police never look into things.
Wait, are you referring to this rumor about some black dog?
Oh man, I know what you're gonna say, Uncle Lars. You're gonna say, oh, that's just something people say to scare each other, but it's not. All right. I've almost seen it. No, yeah, it's the black dog. And
Wait.
Zach's all huffy. Zach expects to be slapped down hard.
Okay. How tall was it? What was the color of its fur? Did it have horns or and Lars is going to
no horns.
ask this like very detailed question about how the dog might have looked like.
Zach like whips out that notebook and starts like going down and cataloging and being like, okay, so this one tourist, the thing is she had a description of like a dog walking on two legs, but she also wore really thick glasses. So I've given that a lower score. I don't think that's as relevant. I don't, not a reliable witness. But this other guy who was a reporter, and they're usually super skeptical. And he said that he saw it on four legs and it was about 6 foot high at the haunch. This is the time, right? And all the really reliable ones only see it, at such and such an hour, right? Like, I kind of think it's phases of and he goes on, right? Like, It's like, he'll keep on like spinning theories that get like more and more disconnected. Like he doesn't have the grounding to really be good at this, but he'll make stuff up.
Yeah, so I assume like at least 10 or 20 minutes pass in and Lars isn't taking notes, but he's like taking it in and thinking about it.
This is great. I have a cool uncle.
And he says, so because we are so distant.
Uncle Lars, you seem like you believe this, and that's kind of weird. Why do you believe me? Are you humoring me? Are you just being nice?
Oh boy, there are things you don't need to, you don't want to know are true. I'm just professional interest, I would say. Professional interest.
I mean, I do want to know. What do you know? You can't just say things like that and then leave them on the floor.
Nah, my brother would rather come and kill me if I tell you so. That's,
He said it was okay, and Zach is clearly lying. He said it was okay to ask you about this stuff.
Well, I didn't really want to believe this folk tale, but I guess maybe we should look into this black dog or something.
Like team up?
Yeah, you could say team up. People around town, they probably don't remember me. I would probably look like a stranger coming to town. So, yeah, we could team up. There's one other person I should probably meet. I don't suppose you know Preston Mayfield.
Oh man, yeah, no, I know Preston. Preston's weird.
You don't say.
All right, I've been paying attention to Preston, and he just sometimes I'm pretty sure he like walks like he avoids certain like he goes in like little loops and he goes around things that nobody can see and stuff. Like I think Preston knows stuff, but like he gets really hostile when you try to talk to him about it. Like he yelled at me for, just being in the same place.
Yeah, I kind of know the type.
But I
Let's
mean, you're a
let's
professional.
go.
You should talk to him.
Let's go. Let's go visit Preston.
As
And I
you
would like.
say that, you hear from the back room, you hear your dad go, Now, Lars, don't be filling that boy's head full of stories. I like seeing you spend time together, but now don't get any of this superstitious nonsense going here. Zach, you already put too much stock in all these tales.
Well, I just listened to my elders like I was taught to, and I'm talking about Granny McLean here.
Well, I don't know. I've already had one son go running off to the big city with crazy ideas. I don't want to see my grandson doing the same.
I wouldn't ever want to go off to the big city. There's stuff happening here in Dalton.
I think we're going to shift scene with that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Over to Preston. Preston, where do we find you? This is towards the end of the day. It's afternoon, probably closing in on 5 or 6, and already the shadows are starting to pool down here in the valley. It gets dark quick in the valley.
I think Preston is about to take a bike ride over to the Rollins. He has like a couple stops over by both the actually, you know what? He just finished at the Blay family.
Blaylock's?
Blaylock, sorry. Blaylock family, and is on his way to the Rollins house because he knows he's around Luke Buck up. His mom runs like a lot of the kitchen stuff. Like she's like a baker at heart. And so he always has, like, lately they've been, like, bringing stuff over there because I think the 3 of their families have been always close, things like that. Like, their parents probably went to high school together.
Nice.
And so he's got, like, a couple of, like, homemade dishes and, like, really pretty, like, white, detailed casserole things that he's, dropping off.
Do you have a car, or you walking, or if you got a bike? Or...
I think he does have a car.
Okay.
I think he does
probably
have a car.
Older car, or
it's
family
definitely
give him something nice.
I think that the family got him something nice. I think they've been very proud of him because he was supposed to go off to this big city college, and do all these things. But lately he's been on like a limited usage, because they're a little unhappy with him.
Nice.
It doesn't really reflect well on their image that he needed to take time before the first semester, and that's. They're worried, and they're maybe, he's been acting a bit off. So he's got it, but he's got limited usage for like when they let him do things, such as
all right,
to do these deliveries.
And we're gonna have you roll your premonitions here in just 1 second, because you're feeling that kind of. I mean, it was sad being there with the Blaylocks, and I say the Blaylocks. It actually was just Doris, because Robert's been going to work. He absolutely is saying Tammy will be back, and she's just wandering. She's gonna be back, Doris. Don't you worry. But Doris, when you saw her, you could tell she's starting to lose hope.
Yeah, and I think Preston's the type that he probably sat there for 20 minutes, like talked with her, held her hand, tried not to stare at the thing floating in the corner. Again, like. I very much imagine that these kids like were toddlers in a sandbox, and so he spent that time, and he sort of was like, I know it's getting hard, but I got a feeling that the big cops are in town, and I know sheriff's not that competent, but deputy sheriff, she's got a good head on her shoulders. She can write these city boys into the direction that we need them to be, and we're gonna get Tammy back, and.
I know, Preston, she wouldn't have run off into the hills.
No, she wouldn't have. I think, I think maybe she broke, maybe she hurt her ankle. just hasn't been able to get back up, and they're gonna find her with one of these search parties. I feel it in my bones. It's gonna be a thing.
And she patted your hand, and you could kind of still feel that touch
Mm-hmm.
as you're driving over to the Rollinses. But let's have that premonitions roll.
All right, so that is a weird roll, which I do at a +2.
Nice.
So that's a 12.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I keep saying that I'm going to start giving people advanced roles here eventually. That you wouldn't have come up for this, but I never get to do them. Okay, with premonitions on a 10+, you get a detailed vision of something bad that is yet to happen. You're going to get to take +1 forward to prevent it coming true, and mark experience when you stop it. So, I think as you're driving up to the Rollins' house. What?
I said, "Oh God," while I'm driving.
Yeah, as you're driving up to the Rollins' house, and these houses, it's a nice neighborhood. These people, everyone who lives in this neighborhood is taking care of their homes. They probably were like the mine company homes originally, so they were probably shotgun houses. Living room with one hallway, a bedroom, and a kitchen at the back. But most people have built onto them. And the Rollinses have done that as well. And so just as you're slowing down, you notice there's a old beat up Lincoln Town car that you recognize out front of the Rollinses. And you see storming down the sidewalk heading towards it is Babs Pritchett. And she's yelling over her shoulder back up to Marvin, who's up on the porch. "Marvin, my girl came by here trying to be nice, and your boy just shut the door in her face. Now, I don't know what the deal is, but I find that rude. Find it very rude indeed." You see Marvin up there, and Marvin's still a powerfully built man, even though he's getting older. He's a logger. He works for one of the family logging places, and you could see this is a man he's a big guy, but as she's yelling, you could see him kind of just almost flinch a little from her haranguing him, and he's like, "Well, Babs, Luke's real upset, and I'm just he don't need that right now. He's trying to find Tammy, and we just don't need that. I think it's rude. And if my girl can't come around here and show her friends a little love, well, I just don't know what this world's about." And she steps around, and I hope she finds some decent hospitality next time, as she gets into the car and suddenly floods across you. You see, looking at Babs, something dark there. It's like she becomes shadowy. Her eyes have this kind of red glow to them. And as you look back up towards Marvin, you can see something, an animal, big as a bear, maybe even a little bigger, like it's stalking up behind him on the porch.
No.
And she slams the door and begins driving off. What do you do?
I think his hands grip onto the steering wheel like really tight, white knuckled, and he's taking these deep breaths, and he's like, "It's not real. You're just tired. You're not sleeping well, and you're just tired. And Zach's been mucking about, and them stories about this cat there, that whatever cat they're talking about. You're just tired." Babs yelling, just Babs, not Babs, Miss Pritchett, be respectful. Her yelling, it's just getting to you. It's loud, just deep breath, and he like takes a moment, settles himself, and he like grabs the sort of like bags he has with these dishes and the thermoses and things like that, and gets out of the car. And I don't even think he bothers to lock it because it's that kind of town, and starts to walk up towards the front.
And as
tremoring a little,
as you're getting out of the car, like that shape. It looks like it's leaping, and then it's gone, just disappears
What direction did it leap towards?
towards Marvin, like it
Okay.
was going to
Right.
just consume, just leap on him.
Yeah, I think it's almost like when it makes that leap, his step almost pitches a bit, and he goes like a bit faster, as if he's like trying to get before it. But then like he realizes how silly that is once it like leaps into nothing, because it's not real, Preston. And he like tells himself in his head, and he's like, Mr. Rollins, good evening.
Oh, Preston. He kind of watches the car as it's that Lincoln as it drives away.
Miss Pritchett means well. She just she's just ornery.
I'm not sure she means that well, but Preston, you've got a good heart. Luke's not here. He hadn't made it back yet from out on the trails.
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
Mom made your favorite, and it's like a big bag, like it's that Southern hospitality to the nth degree. And
Your mama, she's been taking too good a care of us.
Always, that's what neighbors are for. That's what friends are for. And I figured maybe I'd keep you a little company, make sure Luke's okay when he gets back. I'm sorry I could meet him on the trail today. I just had a work to do.
Well, he kind of moves aside so you could come up onto the porch, and he'll put one of these just massive hands on your shoulder. And I know it's got to be rough on you too, Preston. You and Tammy were close.
Yeah, it's a little hard, we made this deal, and we were gonna walk off, together early. We were gonna go and do our things and keep each other on track and keep Luke on track. And but you know what? When she gets back, then we're gonna do it. We're just holding off for her to get back here, and then all of us are gonna do it.
Yeah, when she gets back.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, I wish you'd talk with Luke. Him going up on all those trails day after day, especially going up there alone. I worry about him.
Yeah, he's been going alone. He promised me. He said he wasn't gonna go alone. He said he had someone else today because I couldn't.
He
I'll
can't be stopped from doing it.
I'll talk to him.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
You're a good kid, Preston.
Yeah, I'm good. And like he says that, like you got the arm around it, and his like eyes sort of shift away as if he's looking at like Mr. Rollins' back to check for markings.
Excellent.
That he knows they're not there, but he almost can't help himself but to look there. And how have you been doing, Mr. Rollins? I know this is hard on Luke, but it's also got to be hard on you, and then trying to watch after Luke, and now Miss Pritchett making herself as she do.
Well, I don't mean to. There's nothing wrong with Sissy. She's a sweet girl, but there's something a little odd about how she comes over all the time. And, it makes Luke a little uncomfortable.
I'll talk to Sissy. I think she means well. We've been in band and playing since diapers. I think she means well. She's just trying. She learned where she learned from, and sometimes that's a little more aggressive than maybe Luke or I are used to. And I'll talk to Sissy.
Well, I don't want to tell tales out of church, but it had to have been hard growing up with just Babs there. When her daddy Ralph died, now you were just a baby then, Luke and Sissy, all of y'all were, but there were rumors, that I hate to say it, but you're old enough, I suppose, to hear it, that Ralph had been stepping out on Babs. That he'd been seen with another woman. That's why him followed off. That's why him followed off the cliff like he did. Well, He knew these hills about as well as anybody. He wasn't one to slip. But, well, I guess that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, no, but it you know, it makes sense. Tammy, she's had it hard, so she wants to really care about those that she has that are close to her, and sometimes, she's like you said, she's a good girl, but she just don't realize those lines sometimes, and she means well, but you know, things like that. I don't remember what season was it when Mr. Pritchett passed.
Well, I guess it's about this time of year. Yeah, because it would have been y'all's second Halloween coming up. I can remember primarily because, well, it was when Ralph passed, and well, that another lady that went missing about that time too, and so well, none of the kids went trick or treat. They were a little worried that something was going on. Talked about bears coming down out of the hills. Bears will come down and they'll get in the trash this time of year, trying to fatten up for winter.
Mhm. Yes, sir. That young lady, was she local, or was she someone coming into tour?
Well, local in the sense she lived here now, but she just moved in here. She was a waitress over at the Stag.
Which stag? Was she young, or?
Oh, she was right young, in her 20s. Might have been that that was the girl Ralph was a little sweet on.
Oh, oh my. Well, I'm sure that's just rumors.
Yeah, well, that's probably what it is. Nobody, nobody had any sort of certainty about that sort of thing. Towns like this, stories just build up.
Yeah, some people just ain't working hard enough, and they need to, idle hands and all that.
Mm,
They gab.
that's right. You're a smart boy, Preston. You
Thank you, sir.
understand.
Thank you, sir.
Let me take these on into the kitchen. I don't want to run you off, but I I think I'm gonna head up towards the trailhead, see if I can find Luke.
Yeah. Do you want me to come with you, or?
No, Preston, you don't need to do that. I
Of course.
I I could probably use a little time to think.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Tell him to call me. I'll talk to him about going out alone, and about some of that stuff, and I'll see if I can, find Sissy in a natural manner, and have a talking to with her.
I'd appreciate it, Preston. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and just be careful on those trails. People, maybe if it really is, some aggressive black bears or things like that, you got a rifle with you, and and I think it's become semi-common, like, to carry a like a knife on your bootstrap sort of thing.
This is definitely a place that people would carry a knife.
Yeah, I think Preston usually wasn't one to do that, but he started doing it since people have gone missing. But he
Mm.
sort of like taps his leg in that sense. You got what you need, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just
I ain't going out in those woods without something, and I got the shotgun in the truck.
yeah, yeah. Preston looks at his own trunk where he's got a shotgun. It's just that type of town. But yeah, just keep me abreast. Text me, please. Let me know. I'm worried about Luke also. If just let me know when you get there, when you guys are heading back.
All right, I'll let you know. I'll tell Luke to send you one of them texts when he
Yeah,
gets home.
yeah, yeah. Just yeah, and you have my number, right? And he like pulls out his phone, like, you have my.
Preston, I got you. Well, I got your house phone.
But you take my cell. You should have it also, and just in case, What if
He
you get a
sort
flat
of
if you get a flat tire?
he sort of smiles and all right, Preston. And then you see him put it on
Yeah,
into his
put it in.
phone.
And like, yep,
And I think that's where we're gonna end that scene.
yeah.
And it's where we're going to take our first break of the evening. So why don't we take about 7-8 minutes. We'll come back about 20 or so till the hour. All right.
Sounds good.
See you then.
Sounds great.
Hello.
Hello. Change the location.
Yes, I wanted to switch to a different mic because mine was acting a little funny.
Okay.
And this one's set up on my desk. How does it sound?
It sounds excellent.
Okay, perfect. I was like, gotta break out the Yeti.
I tweaked my back at work at the beginning of this week.
Oh,
I can
no.
tell I'm getting old. It's always bad when you
Wise, not old, wise.
Otherwise I'm getting old. But alrighty. And thought I saw Pavel there for a minute, but we'll give him just a second more. And I think what I want to do is have us all three end up together. And I think we had Lars and Zach going to look for Preston anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So I think what we're going to have is Preston, if it sounds good to you, you were heading back home. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
And I want to ask, does your family live near town, in like the neighborhoods of town, or do they live further out?
I think they live a bit further out because they essentially live in this rather large lodge.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so they live at the lodge. It's one of those kind of places. And, it's rather large, but it's definitely a little bit out of town because, it's closer toward the mountains and the areas for skiing than it is the more central places.
Okay. And so as you're pulling in, and this is, starting to be the busy time. It's not quite hit that, but up on the top of the mountains, we're getting snow. And so, people are beginning to show up. Primarily, this is your cross-country skiers that are here now, because not so much on the slopes coming down, but a lot of cross-country skiers. So it's bustling. The family's a little busy. And as you pull into the parking lot, I think maybe you're a little surprised to see Zach getting out of an RV. Now, there are a few RVs in the parking lot, but see Zach getting out of an RV with, well, there's Lars.
Yeah, I don't think Preston even knows they're related. So he's like, like, it just like, Lars, not so bad. Zach, bad. And he just, Zach's been, in his opinion, stalking him and getting real uncomfortable. Preston's a pretty composed young man. And Zach actually got him to like yell once. And like that is just, that's not genteel. You don't do that. And so he's been trying to really keep his distance.
That proves I'm on the right track.
And so
Lars and Zach, y'all have pulled up to the lodge here, and there's a good number of people. You can see that there are lights on in the lodge, and there's touristy folks. And as you get out, you can see that there's also a police car here, and you probably haven't noticed Preston. Preston's just pulled up, so you haven't noticed Preston yet. But the two of you see that Sherry Manson is there, and she's talking to two men. They're clearly out of towners. They're dressed like people who come to ski once a year, sort of thing. These two guys are kind of upset. They're having a rather heated thing as they talk. Ma'am, officer, he's been missing for 2 weeks now, and your police department does not seem to be doing anything about it. I just don't understand what sort of thing passes for police work in a town like this. And you hear Sherry going, "Sir, I promise you, we're looking into this. We've already called up to Lexington. They're sending down a team. The way you say, you folks were off the trail doing some of that cross-country skiing. We put up those trail markers for a reason, sir. And that's because people that go off those trails, sometimes things happen. There's snow will cover up a hole. person fall down it. There's old mine shafts up there, sir. And this guy's just, this is ridiculous. We have to go back home here tomorrow. And I mean, his wife is in a state. You will be hearing from us more. And as they turn around and walk off, Lars, Zach, you two, Lars, what you doing? You see Sherry there. Are you going to approach her, or are you just going to let this pass?
I think first Lars turns to Zach and says, "And I was just about to ask, do you know where some of those people who went missing were lodging? Now I know where they were lodging. As much as I like Sherry, maybe we were classmates back in the time." Yeah, I think Lars would wait for Sherry to just like move on, unless they will keep talking, and he's more interested in talking to those two guys, because Lars probably in his experience knows that police department isn't in on the thing. So
okay, so those two are walking towards the lodge now. So you go following after them. Zach,
yes.
You have gotten out of the RV, and you see Sherry kind of collect herself after this exchange, and she's moving over to get into the squad car. You going to follow Uncle Lars after those two guys? You going up to Sherry?
Yeah, I give Uncle Lars a sort of uncertain look, but then I'm going to go talk to Sherry.
Okay.
I'm carefully not paying any attention to Preston.
Okay. And like I say, y'all probably haven't quite seen Preston yet. He's still in the car.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So as you move up, Sherry kind of looks over and says, Zach, how you doing this evening?
Hey, officer, I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
She looks back towards those guys and kind of, notices, you could tell she's a canny woman, that she notices Lars going to speak to him. And is that your Uncle Lars?
Oh, yeah, that's Uncle Lars. He's just back in town for a couple of weeks. The city folk giving you trouble, ma'am?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I can't blame them. Their friend went off the trails, and they ain't seen him now for 2 weeks. We went and did a search, but we tell folks, stay on the trails. It's dangerous stuff you get off them.
Yeah, I mean, off the trails is where the black dog hunts. Everybody knows that.
Zach.
So, what?
Now, you aren't telling me you believe that sort of old wives' tale now, are you?
Ma'am, I was raised never to tell an officer of the law anything an officer of the law told me not to tell him, so I'm not telling you that.
Zach, and she kind of puts her hand on your shoulder. Zach, you and I both know that's just old stories. You know that there ain't a black dog. Zach?
Sure. No,
she's lying to you.
Oh, okay. That's right. I can tell when she's lying to me.
Yeah, she definitely believes that there is that there's things out there. Now, maybe not the specific of this, the black dog getting this guy or whatever, but her giving you this is all of, she is not being truthful to you.
But I mean, there is an awful lot of funny stuff that, happens out there that we can't explain. I mean, Tammy went missing too. And Tammy knows not to go off the trails. Yeah,
that's true. That's a real shame. The sheriff thinks it's human traffickers. And I
don't know. I was talking to Uncle Lars, and he's been doing apparently some search and rescue work, out in the country.
I've heard rumors of what Lars does.
I'm just saying search and rescue work, ma'am. I'm saying search and rescue. But I'm just saying I think there's worse people to temporarily deputize than my Uncle Lars.
That'd be up to the sheriff, but
He gives a lot of respect to your word, man. I know that. We all do.
Maybe Lars should come into town, have a little talk with us. Heck, having someone with some experience looking for folks, we ain't gonna turn it down.
I'll be sure to mention it to him, man.
Zach, I don't want you wandering around out in those hills. I'm already worried about Luke Rollins doing that.
Well, ma'am, I'm willing to promise right here, right now, that I will not wander aimlessly in those hills.
And you see her squint at you, and
I'm not good
right,
at keeping
Zach.
a straight face. Like, it's probably pretty clear that I'm like cutting words and being semantic.
Zach, just be careful.
Oh, I'm always careful, he lies.
Mm-hmm. You like these old stories, don't you?
I mean, they're part of Dalton, ma'am, and Dalton's my home, and I like Dalton. So some of the stories are bright and some of the stories are dark, but I feel like I've got to like them all if I like it here, and I do like it here. You know, I'm not one of those kids who wants to get out and go to the big city.
Well, I guess that's good for you. I never really wanted to leave either. Zach, let me tell you something. If you want to know more about this sort of stuff,
I whip out my notebook.
a safer way to learn is to go talk to Jerry Miller over at the Historical Society rather than wandering around out in the woods. If anybody knows the old stories about the Black Dog or any other bully woogie that's out there, well, it'd be him.
I'll do that. Thank you.
I'm going to scoot over to you there, Lars, as you come up to these guys, and they are bitching about Sherry. I can't believe that this is just insane. I can't believe they're not looking into this. What do you do?
I think Lars takes a business card. As of yet unknown, is it fake or real? And he approaches the man, and he says, "Excuse me, gentlemen, I couldn't help but to listen on your conversation with the sheriff. I'm Lars Falkenberg, a PI. I've heard that there are some people missing in this town."
That's right. You say you're a private investigator?
Yes. And I hand them the business card, which basically says Lars Falkenberg, PI, and the contact number.
Says, well, are you looking into this? Our buddy Mark wasn't the first. Oh, I'm sorry. Our buddy Brian wasn't the first one to go missing.
Yes, I was really wondering about those people. So, do you know where did? So, are those Brian folks or are those Mark folks? These two guys I'm talking to, are they from the Brian's group or from the Mark's group? Because
they're from Brian's, and actually, they didn't say he's not the first to go missing. They say he's not the only one to go missing. Sure. So this is the guy who was skiing, and they apparently turned around and he was gone.
Sure. I was hoping that I don't know why I was thinking that those were guys from the Mark Stockton. Okay, anyway.
Mark Stockton was out there taking pictures of bears.
Yes. Can you tell me something more about how did it happen? Where have you been? And I just straight out flip the map of the area from my jacket.
Why don't we have you roll investigate a mystery?
Sure.
So you're going to be rolling. That's with rolling with sharp, as you're trying to kind of listen to what the story they tell you, checking over the map where they put it, and see if you could put some of this information to use.
So yes, I'm. So yes, where did it go? I suppose it is in this case the missing person.
All right, they show you on the map where they were skiing, and you grew up here. They definitely had gone a ways off the trails. In fact, they'd gone up towards where some of the mines, the old mines, are. In particular, they were close to the Cash Money shaft, and he starts. We went up there. We were going to try and we hear that there's these, like abandoned mines and stuff. We thought we could go up there, see something interesting, see something, that you can't see in the city. And of course, higher up, we were going to get some pictures of the, the scenery. And we go skiing all over. And Brian was a good skier. And we'd gone up and we're coming back down. And we turned around and he was just gone. We didn't hear anything. We backtracked up. And we told the police this. We found where his ski tracks just sort of stopped. And there were like animal prints around it. Wasn't like there was any blood but it's like that like he just disappeared.
That's very interesting. Would you know where exactly on the map it happened?
And they'll give you a really tight approximation of where it is. And again, it's not too far from Cash Money. It is a ways up the hills.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a second question.
Yeah. Well, if you wanna use the advance question, I can ask anything.
I'll let you open up a little bit there, and because some of these are a little further along, I think, the investigation than how to hurt it. You don't know what you're even dealing with particularly.
Yeah, definitely cannot fit any question here other than this. So I guess we would see Lars squint his eyes and looks them up and down, and he says, "Say, gentlemen, you wouldn't be, just curious tourist poking, and did you really come here to ski, or did you come here to really get into the mines and investigate the abandoned places? Are you this sort of thrill seekers? Was it really your plan? Come on, guys. If I am to find your body, I need to know the bare truth."
Say, look, I'll admit we were intrigued to go see what these mines were like, but heck, we didn't go inside them. I mean, and they kind of look at each other, and one of them says, just tell him. Well, we got up to the mine at this one here, and he points. It's the Cash Money. We got up there, and we're looking around, and there was a weird sound coming out of that cave, the mine. It sounded like a woman crying. And, well, we yelled, "Hello, you all right? Somebody hurt?" We didn't get any answer. But that crying stopped, and it's a sound like some sort of animal. I don't know. They say there are bears around, but this sounded different. It was like some sort of howl, not like a dog or a wolf or even like a coyote. It was different. And the truth is, we got the hell out of there. We took off, and Brian was with us. I mean, we we skied about as fast as we could for a good half a mile before we calmed down. And all three of us were there, and we took a swig off the flask and calmed our nerves. And that's when we headed back down. And somewhere between where we stopped and another, I don't know, quarter mile, that's when Brian just disappeared. He wouldn't have gone back, though. I promise you that. None of us would go back.
Well, gentlemen, you said you think you heard women screaming. Could you, by any chance, make out the words, or is it just like, or was it just like very?
It was like she was crying. It was like her heart had broken. It was.
I understand.
It was really sad. I mean, sort of sad that it. I tell you, I've never heard someone who seemed so lonely.
I understand. Well, gentlemen, I will go in and investigate it, and hopefully, if I find your friend alive, I hope there is there will be some cash for me. But yes, sir, if you find him, Mr. Falkenberg, if you find him, well, we've already set up a little fund, a little, reward. But if you find him, we'll double it. We really don't want to leave without him. Seeing that it is night, I will probably go there tomorrow. So if you folks want to delay a day or two, give me a day to check out the places. That would be good. Otherwise, I will contact you. If you can just write down your numbers, I'll give you a call if I find anything.
And they'll write down their numbers. And I think I'm going to switch kind of from that conversation to Preston.
Mm-hmm.
You've parked. You see Sherry kind of patting Zach on the back as she gets into the car, and you see these guys hand something to Lars as they then move off. What are you doing?
I think he spends several moments hemming and hawing in his car watching Zach interact with the deputy, because he wants to speak to the deputy, but he does not want to interact with Zach. And then finally, when it seems like Zach is just not going to leave, he sighs and grabs I think he has a container next to him. I think the lodge is very well known for its hot chocolate. It's a big thing. It's one of the reasons why it stands out compared to other lodges. And he has a thermos of it. His mom, always gives whenever he goes. Hasn't had any of it yet. So he takes it and he shuts his car and he starts heading over towards where Zach and Deputy Manson is.
All right. Zach, you see Preston heading over, and Sherry kind of looks and, Preston.
Good evening, Deputy Manson. Everything okay? Were you just nothing happened at the lodge, right?
Just checking in with the man that was missing, his two friends. Wanting an update.
Of course. Yeah, we appreciate your diligence here. You know how we all feel you're wonderful, and working hard late at night, things like that. And he sort of takes the thermos and subtly goes to put it through the window, to offer it to her. Mama's special.
Well, I can't turn that down. I'll make sure and bring the thermos back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Zach, remember what I told you now.
Yeah.
Very well, man.
Not. Hi, Zachary.
Hey, Preston.
Miss, I'm sorry, not kerfuffled. He looks at Zach, who's putting him on edge, and he's just, Deputy Manson, I was hoping you could do me a small favor. Luke hasn't come down off the mountain yet, and I just passed his daddy, and his daddy's driving up to go get him. But I'm a little worried. He looked a little tired. But I knew he wasn't going to listen to a youngin about not. I would have gone, but he wasn't going to listen to a youngin about not going to go grab his boy.
Ice on a cracker. Oh, Preston, thank you.
I'm just worried about him. I was hearing some things, and you're Dalton born and bred, so you'd know things, a few years ago, more than a few, when Mr. Pritchett had his accident, a young woman also went missing. I don't
talking about Ralph falling off the cliff.
Yeah, but a waitress went missing also.
Yeah, let's see. That would have. I was just. I just come onto the force, but yeah.
Anyone
lady
else
named Lucy Stiles.
Lucy Stiles. All right. Has anyone else gone missing in October? I don't remember that being a thing. I mean, we have things happen, but that's not and he's trying to like play it off like he's looking for her, like he's a little bit of a nervous citizen,
Does Zach know anything about that?
About the
October
Ralph
being the.
I think you would know. Well, first off, everybody talks about the black dog, but you would know that. Let's see. Clyde Pritchett went missing about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But you also, I'm sorry, Ralph Pritchett went missing about 10 years ago. But you also know that Clyde Pritchett was found dead. And Ralph was dead too, but Clyde Pritchett also died in October, and that's been 20 years ago. That's Sissy's grandfather.
Oh shit! So Zach says very under his breath. He's feeling awkward about it, but he says it's always October.
October's a bad time, especially for folks that go out where they shouldn't. It's just starting to get icy. The ground real treacherous. But let me just say, don't go wandering around, especially at night, but most anytime. Don't go wandering out in the woods in October. It's just a dangerous time. And again, she'll kind of cut her eyes over towards you again, Zach, and say, if you're interested in that sort of thing, it's a lot safer to look it up in a book than it is to try and go off on your own.
Well, that's true.
I better get up there.
Yeah, you have the lodge and numbers and my stuff from when we were doing the coordinated searches. You got my phone number. Could you just let me know that Luke and Mr. Rollins are okay, that you got him and you see him? He looks a little twitchy when he says it.
Yeah, sure thing, Preston. I'm more than happy to do that. Cell reception won't be good out there, but how about I get the station to just give a call up to the lodge?
Yeah, that could work. I'll thank you, Sheriff. One day, hopefully, Deputy.
She says, "Your lips to God's ears," and she starts off. She heads off, and she's making a little haste. You can see heading off down the direction.
Person just cordially waves her off, and sort of immediately turns heel and looks at Zach, and is like, "Zachary Moore, what are you doing at this lodge?"
I came up here with my uncle, Preston. I'm not stalking or doing anything weird like that.
Because I told you last time, I'll get that fancy city paperwork.
I mean, but I'm not doing whatever it is you think I'm doing. My uncle Lars and I came down here, and we're looking. He wants to talk to you.
And he takes a step back away from Zach, like, because they're probably both at the windows. He's like putting some distance there. I could talk to your Uncle Lars. My parents probably wouldn't appreciate it, but I could, he's an elder, but why are you here if he wants to talk to me?
Well, I'm here because I talked to him, and We're looking into the things. We're looking into the disappearances. All right. It's not about you. Not everything's about you. Just because this is about the people who are missing.
Don't talk to me like that. One of my best friends is missing. You wouldn't even know how to pick Tammy out of a lineup.
It's not that big a town. I think I would know how to pick her out of a lineup.
Whatever.
Just because she wasn't a close friend doesn't mean I can't worry about somebody.
And I think, Lars, you're probably turned around and see
Two teens squabble.
this bit of tension going on over there.
Yeah, I would probably come down from the stairs where I was talking with the men. Preston,
Mr.
nice to see
Mr.
you.
Falkenberg, and he does a curt nod, and good to see you as well.
Lars, it's enough. Otherwise, it makes me feel really old.
Lars, and he says it like he's saying a foreign word. Does that ingrain? So you want to talk?
Yes, I was wondering. I didn't know that those men were staying at your family lodge.
Yeah.
I was, maybe we should find a quiet place to talk, maybe inside, or we can stay over here as well.
Let's go out to the shed, and he looks up towards the front windows, making sure neither his parents or his older sister see this, because I imagine Lars is probably not popular around town, especially amongst those that are a little more in normal views, things like that.
And you could kind of guess that the family's probably pretty busy. This many folks in the lodge, so looking up there, you don't see anyone, and you lead them over towards. Is this like a ski equipment shed?
I imagine it's a decently large ski equipment shed, because it's probably one of the bigger lodges. Yeah, it's probably like a garage. They've got a long bench where people can sit down and try some different ones before they rent them, see what fits. They probably also got snowboards and things like that.
Okay.
Opens it up.
Say, Preston, you seem to know Zach, my nephew.
I have had an unfortunate time with Zachary Moore stalking me.
Oh, that's interesting.
He pointedly looks at Zach
Look, I investigate weird stuff, and
I am
no
not
matter
weird.
how much. No, you're not weird. You don't ever see anything that nobody else sees.
Of
you don't
course
ever notice
not.
anything that nobody else can see. You tell yourself whatever you want, Preston.
That was a lie.
And Preston takes a deep breath. I don't want any of the weirdness. You're interested in Zach. But
all right, that's fine.
Mr. Lars.
Anyway, I'm just here because my uncle thought it might be useful to talk to you.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'll talk to him. But you keep that notebook and that pencil down. I'm
keeping it down. I haven't taken one note.
He's reads the finger, and but then he looks to Mr. Lars. Yeah, of course I'm happy to help you.
How is that book that I lent you coming along? Have you been reading it?
And he just immediately, as soon as you mentioned, the dread on his face, because he's just, of course, what kind of book are you lending someone? That book that you got me. Yeah, of course. Yes, the interesting biology book. And he's pointedly saying this, please don't out me here. That biology book from the city that I just could not, get here. That old book. I very much appreciate you getting that for me on one of your trips.
Yeah, and I think that Lars oh yeah, Lars probably now realizes that the two of you have some tension between each other. It didn't really occur to him before. Oh yes, the biology book. So Preston,
that's a lie. Yeah, Zach, people they're both lying their rears off.
So Preston, what can you tell me about those people going missing? Do you know anything more than the public rumors going around?
So do I know anything about these skiers or about the gentlemen? I assume they were all staying at my.
They all were staying there. They're kind of jerks.
Yeah.
But nothing beyond what we've heard already.
Okay. Nothing about the other two. The older two. They were just, they were guests. City folk. They're a little aggressive, a little demanding, not very nice sometimes. Just weren't raised with hospitality. But I know Tammy very well, of course. And she's not the type to get lost. She knows those trails better than almost anyone in our group. She used to like to study out in nature. She said it made her think brighter. But
yes, this the town girl. Say, do you know the details of her going missing? Is she just that she walked out of the house, or were the group of you trailing through the forest?
She was by herself. She went to go sort of. There's a place we like to visit. And just as the was getting closer to leaving, she wanted to spend some time there. But and he looks at Zach and then sort of scooches a little closer to Lars. Trying to whisper a bit. I saw something. I don't, and his hands are gripped and knuckles, white nails, probably bent hands. I had one of them episodes I told you about earlier tonight.
Yes, Lars would probably look at Zach. Zach, can you please get us some coffee and a hot tea for me?
I don't.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Cocoa, please.
And
Sure.
Zach, you head out, and I'm guessing rather than the lodge, you're probably heading back to the RV to get hot coffee, or are you going to go up to the lodge to get it?
I think. No, I'll go back to. Man, I don't know if Preston's complained about me to the parents or not. Yeah, I'll go back
for
to the
sure.
RV. Yeah, back to the RV seems better.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're heading back to the RV. I'm going to come back to you in a second. I want to hear kind of this conversation inside. We're going to have something with you there, Zach. So continue on. Zach leaves the shed.
And Preston's shoulders that were starting to meet his ears kind of hunch back down. He breathes a sigh of relief. And I had one of those episodes. I was at the car. I was bringing food over to, you know the Rollins? Luke Rollins. He was dating Tammy. And Miss Babs Pritchett was there, and she was hollering all sorts. Sissy's been, you don't care about that drama stuff. Sissy been having something where she's trying to be real sweet on Luke, but Luke's obviously real upset about Tammy, and all these things. But I saw her, and I thought I saw her, and she was all dark and shroudy, and her eyes they gleamed this red, and it was dark, and it looked almost like this big, large dog, and there were these marks, and it was going for Miss Rollins, and for a moment I thought I saw it leap, and I thought it was going to attack, and I'm real concerned. And then I asked some stuff, and it just seems like a lot. Several years ago, Ralph Pritchett, her husband, apparently he might have been, and he whispers the secondary part, unfaithful, and with this waitress, and both of them went missing. Ralph, he supposedly fell off a cliff, and it was all in the same time in October. And Sissy's like Luke for a real while, and just it seems weird. I don't want this weirdness, Mr. Lars.
Well, I understand, Preston, that you don't want this weirdness, but it seems you just have it, and there is not much I can. I cannot take it from you, even if you wanted to. I can only provide you some guidance to how to control it. But the things you speak of, Lars would think about it, and does it seem like ring? Does it ring any bells or not? Do from the words of Preston? Do I see that? Do I sense that there is some? Is it backed up by some of my experience, or is that something new to me?
Okay. You will, first off, you're getting a whole lot of story now about this dog. So this is starting to corroborate a little of the stories you're hearing. This is more evidence coming into you that something is up. As for what Preston's talking about there, yeah, you recognize that. That sounds like a vision. That sounds like someone who can see premonitions.
He's having trouble making eye contact with you right now. He's pulling on the hem of his shirt sleeve.
Well, Preston, from what you think of me, and I'm just I think Lars, he was thinking for a moment about it, and coming to think of it, maybe we should go and find Marvin just to make sure he's safe. I think he might be onto something. Would you happen to have his contacts so that you can I don't know, call him and tell him that we will join him? I'm worried that there could be some truth to what you have seen.
I didn't want to be disrespectful. I wanted to tell him to stay home and let's go. But I sent Deputy Manson to go check on him. But I have contact. I can try and call him. I think that, and he's shaking his head. I think that might be a good idea. I'm real nervous. Do you think? And he sort of earnestly looks up at you, and he's like, "Do you think people can be monsters?"
Lars just looks around that there's nobody listening in, and he says, "Yes, they can."
Oh, Lord in heaven's gonna take this from me. I think Mrs. Pritchett might be a monster.
So far, we don't have enough evidence to back things up. Your vision could, I've met some people who had some visions. They are not always 120% truth. So I believe that Marvin could be in danger. As to the culprit, we should be more thorough before we throw accusations.
Yeah,
I'm going to because we may come back to this conversation a little bit more. We'll see. But I'm going to cut because back in the RV, Zach, you've put together a couple of cups of coffee.
Yep.
And as you're
powdered in some
I just want to throw that if you are in the back of the RV, because earlier we were in the front, the back of the RV doesn't look like the RV. There's armory, there's infirmary, and there is a whole workshop full of weird stuff.
I'm interested to know, Lars, have you shown Zach this stuff before?
No. I was certain that he will go into the lodge to get us coffee. I didn't think that he will go into the back of the RV. But it was too late to stop him anyway.
Gotcha. So, Zach, you see this, which how do you react when you see it?
Zach's a little bit freaked out. This is a little bit realer than he was totally ready for. The infirmary he can cope with, right? That's not too bad. The workshop, okay, right? But the armory, that's really alarming. That looks a lot like a flamethrower.
And so you can see where I'm sure Lars has a setup in this, so he can, he has a stove there, the things that you would have so you can stay in your RV. So you kind of quickly get, water for the coffee and a tea, kind of looking. Do you explore in there, or do you leave it be?
No, I leave. This is disturbing.
So as you come out of the RV, you see come pulling in to the parking lot. Doesn't have the siren on, but does have the lights, is an ambulance. And as you see it come in, you see coming back up the road with lights on, you see Sherry coming back. It's only been about 15, 20 minutes. But following behind her is Marvin Rollins' truck and is Luke's Charger.
Oh, shit.
And they pull in, and as I'm guessing you kind of move to where you could observe it. Shirley gets out. She hops out of the patrol car and moves over towards the ambulance as Marvin gets out of his truck and moves over to Luke, and he kind of hugs him, embraces him. He's like, son, I know it was scary to find, but there's a lot of folks that are going to be glad that you did. Luke looks, he's kind of, the color kind of drained a bit from him. He looks scared. He's like, Daddy, I've seen dead bodies before, but whatever gotten a hold of that man, it was awful. I mean, what kind of animal does that?
I run back up to Lars and Preston.
Okay.
Which is hard because I really want to listen to the rest of this conversation. But possibly I've been a jerk.
And so as you're getting there, I think that's probably going to interrupt your conversation that we're having. I kind of like the little uncertainty we had at the end of that conversation. So, Zach, you get to the door there.
Preston, they found Luke, and it sounds like he found a body, and it was real bad, and he could probably use a friend, is all I'm saying.
Before you even get half of that out, he's sprinting. And I think Preston was on like the track team or something like that. And so he's just out and he's bolting and he's, knows this terrain enough to not slip on his ass. And is just bolting immediately because they're, words just ambulance, friend, dead body, like those.
You go running out there.
Yeah, he's going.
So you start running, and you can see the ambulance there, and Sherry is over there talking to the paramedics, and it looks like they're getting ready to leave, to head back. And you see Marvin and Luke there. Lars, I'm going to let you and Zach have a moment here while Preston's running over.
Lars probably comes to Zach to take the cup of tea. He probably notices that it is from his own RV, and he says, "Oh, so you've been to the back of the RV?"
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snoop or anything, but you got some stuff back there, Uncle Lars.
No worries. I don't try to keep too many secrets from the family, but
I won't tell anybody about it. I don't.
Better don't tell your father. He would really freak out, and he would call me and shout at me that I have shown you some stuff. Let's keep it on the DL.
Okay. No, I won't tell anybody.
Now let's go out and see what's all of the commotion is.
So as you two come walking down, Preston, you get over there, and Luke kind of looks up to see you, and so does Preston. I guess you would be here. And you run up to them. Preston?
Nope. I saw the lights. Is everything okay? Luke, are you okay? And he walks over and sort of puts a hand on Luke's arm,
Preston, there was a dead body, a man. The deputy says it's that skier that went missing.
Preston sort of lets out a sigh of relief when he says it's a man, because clearly it's not Tammy. And you found it? What? did he like fall and frostbite or something? Like,
No, he was off the trail. I've been looking for Tammy, and so I don't get far off the trail, but I was. And Barvin's like, you shouldn't be getting off the trail
Luke?
at all. In fact, you shouldn't be on the trail at all. You should be staying home.
Luke, yeah, I think he almost takes his other arm, puts it on Luke's shoulder, and like sort of like pulls him down a little so he can get more to his height. And he looks at him and he's like, "Do not go off the trail, and don't go alone. You said you had someone."
They couldn't go, and look, both of you. Tammy's out there.
I know.
Then
I know.
she's alone and she's scared, and I need to help find her.
We're gonna find her. We're gonna find her, but it ain't gonna do none of us any good if we gotta go find your big lug also.
Son, it was clearly a bear. There's bears out there. And Luke goes, no bear did that.
What did it do?
It cut him open just from his neck all the way down, and it like chewed on it, like if a hound dog gets a bone.
Did you see anything doggish out there?
He kind of looks at you and looks over at Marvin. No. I ain't seen anything.
Does it seem like he's?
He might be hedging. You know him pretty well. He might be hedging. It's not an outright lie.
Yeah. Mr. Rollins, could you just give us a moment? Maybe start the car so it's warm, when you get back in.
And I think because of, where y'all had this conversation before, and because you've already said you shouldn't be going out there, he's like, yeah, Preston, why don't you talk some sense into him? Luke, 5 minutes, then we're going home.
Mom made your favorites. You can just heat that up.
And he gets into the truck and clearly is waiting for Luke to get into the Charger and come with him.
Yeah,
and Luke's like, pressed. I ain't seen nothing, but I hear howling out there.
You hear howling.
It ain't a bear.
It ain't a bear. Okay, all right. I hear you. Pause it. I believe you, Luke. I believe you. We're gonna take care of this, but you're exhausted, and what you just saw, nobody should see. And just go get some rest tonight. And he sort of like pokes, and it's sort of like funny because he's more of a flat, like a runner guy, and like Luke is this big 6'4" mountain football player. He like pokes a finger in the middle of his chest. You better not go out there alone again. If you're even thinking about, you call me, I'll drop whatever. Don't go out alone.
Fine.
Just don't worry. I don't think you're crazy. And it's almost like he's saying it to himself when he says it to Luke. And about the howling, and we're gonna find Tammy. We're gonna find her.
We're gonna find her.
But just go home and just be careful with your daddy. He couldn't handle if anything happened to you. And Tammy couldn't handle it either. So be a little smarter. I taught you things. And the hand that's poking his chest reaches out and like taps him on the forehead.
Hell, I bet Dad ain't gonna let me out of the house anyway.
I'll keep you in contact. And do me a favor. Keep an eye on your daddy for me. I'm just a little worried that he's stressed out with all this and stressing out about you, and he worked so hard, and his ticker, and also Mrs. Pritchett was kind of doing what Miss Pritchett do out on the deck.
Between me and you, Preston, I think she's a total bitch.
And I think his cheeks color a little at like the expletive, and he's like, I wouldn't not agree to such a statement.
It's a shame Sissy has to deal with her.
Yeah, Sissy means well, and that too. Sissy means well. I know it's a little awkward. I'll talk to Sissy. Yeah, it's a lot, but just keep an eye on your daddy for me. And if your daddy leaves, tell me. Let me know. I don't think he's getting enough sleep either, and I think he might try and go out and find Tammy so that you're not going out to find it. It's a cycle.
I'll keep you in touch, Preston, and thanks.
Of course. And he like sort of like squeezes his shoulder a bit.
There's
Now
a
go.
beep beep as
Beep,
Marvin
beep.
is like, come on now.
All right, go eat something. Mom made yours and your dad's favorites, and it's all you can just heat it up again. And
Thank you, Mama.
oh yeah, of course.
We're going to switch over to Lars and Zach. Where you see this going on over there, are you two heading, where are you heading to?
So you said that there was an
ambulance?
So ambulance came from the village, and the cars came from the other direction. Are they like moving the body? Because Lars is really interested in taking a peek, maybe taking a closer look at the body.
Feel almost certain
So he would
probably the deputy radioed in, and this is the ambulance going to go out and pick up the body. See what I'm saying? Because the ambulance came from town, the deputy and the Rollinses came from out at the trail. So she's probably beating up, and they're going to go back and pick up the body.
Okay, so I'll probably go talk to Sherry.
Zach, you sticking by him?
Yeah, I'm going to take a moment as we go to fill you in that Uncle Lars, I talked to the deputy sheriff there, Sherry, and she seemed to feel like, there's room for you to be permitted to go do some detective work out there.
Oh, good. I wonder how far my PR business card can get me. We'll see.
As you walk up, Sherry is just finishing talking to the guys at the ambulance, and you can tell she's given directions, and they're getting back in and starting up and about to leave as she's heading to her car. She looks up. Oh, Zach, Lars, I see you're back in town.
Sherry, a pleasure to see you. Haven't seen you in quite some time.
Been traveling around?
Odd jobs here and there. But I've been... I moved to actually helping people as a PI. I was actually hired to look for those missing people. I mean, the Lodz and the Stockton, which is kind of a half truth because I was just now. I've heard you found one of the bodies. I was wondering if I could go with you to take a look. Maybe it would give us some hint, and maybe we will be able to find the other people missing still alive, if you don't mind.
Have you do a manipulate someone here? And Zach, we have a help out move, so I have people roll it after the roll because it's a +1. It's conceivable that it won't come into play here, but be prepared in case.
It's a 6.
Good.
It's a 6. It very well may come into play here. Would you like to help out your Uncle Lars?
I would absolutely like to help out. Let me see how far I can stick my foot in my mouth here.
So you'll be rolling cool. You see him say
It's
this.
a miracle. Oh, no, wait. It's the opposite of a miracle.
Yeah, you left the cool, charming boy who people like on the side.
Yeah, he's charming, but he's not cool.
She goes, look, this is police business. I'm sure your private investigative business is very important, but to let you know, this was a skier. He went off the trail. My guess is he may have fallen. From what Luke's telling me, the animals got a hold of him. We're gonna go pick him up, take him back into town. If you want to come by the sheriff's office, the body will be there. Probably at least another day before the coroner will have a chance to come pick it up. But, I can't let you come out to a crime scene. I have to at least look it over.
I understand. I understand. Well, could you at least let me know where it is so I can come after you when you're done?
It's on the trailhead that goes up towards Cash Money. About a mile up the trail is what Luke's telling me. I haven't seen the body yet. Do not go up there tonight. Zach, don't let your uncle come up there tonight. I don't care about private investigations or any of that other shit, all right? This is a crime scene. I have to check it out first. What you do tomorrow, well, that I can't do anything about. But I will tell you this, and you may have been out of town for a while, Lars Falkenberg, but you and I both know going up in them hills in October is dangerous. You're going to get yourself hurt.
Of course. I don't know why would I go there tonight. Like, really.
Fine. And she'll get back into her car.
Can I do something really quick?
You can.
I think seeing this interaction, and I think it's pretty clear that Lars is getting the shutdown. I'd like to attempt a jinx.
Okay. Well, let's see here. Rolling your jinx. I'll pull up the spooky real quick. What are you trying to jinx? Who are you trying to jinx?
So I kind of want to jinx the deputy.
All right. So rolling with weird.
Okay, that's an 8.
Okay, you're going to get one hold. And what is the so I'll know, what is the intent here? What are you hoping to have happen?
The target loses something that you will soon find.
Oh.
So I'm hoping that there's something integral or helpful that maybe she has gotten or will find at this scene, as we're definitely, not following her. That we will then find and or garner that will help us with connecting some dots.
Okay. Let's see. I kind of like the idea of something she misses or loses up there. So
Yeah.
let's have this not be something. She's gonna drive off. The ammo is gonna go.
Yeah.
And as you come walking back over to Lars and Zach, we're now at about 7 o'clock at night, so it's dark. Even if there weren't awful things out there, going up on one of these trails in the dark is a bad idea. All three of you know that's a very bad idea. Now you can do it, but there's just the terrain itself is dangerous. So as you three come together, what do you say? What do y'all discuss?
That all depends. Can I get there before they get there? Can I get the ski? Oh, we lost one. Can I get the ski and just be there before they arrive, or do I have to go there, do my truck and wait until they leave and then investigate the place?
You're almost certainly not going to beat them there. It's one road. They're already ahead of you.
Any chance, Preston knows these mountain wells and they're kind of part of his family's property a bit. He probably has, certain muckabouts, in their little carts, four-wheelers, etc., that they take. Maybe he might know. It's not necessarily the right way one should go, but...
Let's have you do an act under pressure, but I'm going to have you roll it with sharp.
Ouch. Sharp is -1.
I have a bad backup plan.
Oh, it's still a 9.
Oh, nice. Okay. You do know a shortcut, but it is A, it would be dangerous. And B, it's not going to get you there much sooner. And you can guess what'll happen if she comes up there and finds y'all already there. Just to hear, Zach, what were you thinking of?
I was going to get in touch with my internet friends and talk to that one who claims he can get special, like, military-grade satellite photos.
Ooh. That's an interesting idea. So we have two kind of parallel ideas. You want to pull out your phone and see if you could get a...
I do, in fact. So that's plus charm.
Okay.
That is an 8.
All right. And what does it say on an 8? Let me look at flavor.
They're prepared to help, but it's either going to take some time or I'm going to have to do part of it myself.
Okay, they write back to you and they say, Zach, this is a big deal. Yeah, I could do it, but there's a couple of things that, first off, I need exact coordinates. If you could get there and, send me a signal for what exactly the coordinates are for the spot.
I can give you exact coordinates and you can go through my account so that you aren't connected with it. Out of character, I know that's a terrible idea. This is life or death, or I wouldn't be asking.
All right. Well, whatever spot you want, send me the coordinates for that. I could probably give you I don't know. How big a window do you want to have shots from?
Doesn't really matter when, although as recent as possible. What I want is there's a lot of trails back there, and I want a high resolution aerial shot that shows me where they are.
All right. Well, yeah. Wherever the place is, send me the signal from it.
All right, I can do that.
So, are we going to be taking some four-wheelers there so we can send up a signal and see what it looks like?
I think they're about to. And, Preston just has this feeling in his gut. And he's like, before we go, can we just... I think I could... He, looks at Zach and he's just like, don't ever mention this again. There's a thing... I think I saw it or something of it earlier tonight, a mock-up or something, and I made eye contact. And there was this one time I was sitting in this cafe reading and watching, and he speeds up as he's nervous. And I made eye contact with the squirrel, and then I could see out of the squirrel for a while. And I think maybe I could try to, if I could connect with it, maybe we'd know. Because after what I told you, Mr. Falk, Lars, I'm a little nervous. Maybe it's not in the woods, and maybe it's the body's in the wood, but maybe it's not in the woods. Maybe it's going after Mr. Rollins. And it might be worth checking out to see if we could see where it's actually going.
And
his legs bouncing.
Of course.
I shouldn't do it here though. Can we go in your van, your RV? Maybe I could sit on the couch there or something.
We could, but I was just about to drive the RV and investigate the place after the deputy has left, so we can do it on the way. By the way, I'm not sure why do you...
Okay, continue with this conversation, but Zach, you're going to burn a 12 on your internet?
Yeah, because I missed that roll. I was looking at the bottom, not the top, but I'll burn a luck so that we don't need to retcon a bunch of stuff.
Cool. Okay. Pop back to y'all's conversation there, and I'm going to look over that flake move.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, kids, I'm not sure what you are up to, but I'm not about to take you to see that dead body. Your parents would skin you alive if I did it. So
I don't care about bodies. I just want to find Tammy.
It's the not body that we want to find. That Preston wants to find. Preston's right. I got, I shouldn't pretend like it's both of us. This is Preston's thing.
You like say that and he like glares at you.
I care. I want to help, but I don't want to. You were right earlier. All right, that's what I'm saying. You were right. I'm trying to apologize.
Oh, like he looks so uncomfortable when you say that. Like, what are you doing? And he just like again sidestep further away because he doesn't want to like Zach. He doesn't want to like the weird kid. No.
The weird kid. That's funny.
Yeah. And he's just like, yeah, just we'll go in the RV and I'll sit in your couch and you'll drive back and then and we'll see.
Sure, hop in and don't be spooked by all the stuff. You can lie on the infirmary couch.
He fucking he like stops right on the stairs as he like cacks his eye of this wall and like debates stepping back. And he just whispers in his breath, in for a penny, in for a pound, it's for Tammy. And gets in and goes to sit on this infirmary couch.
And so you sit on the couch, we start moving, and go ahead, you can make your roll, but I'm going to come over to you, Zach, because your friend, apparently, because we're not going to have it as a retcon as much as he sends back to you, look, I've managed to find a pretty good shot going, and you start getting information download. And what you get is about a picture, a shot that takes about every half hour for a period that's going for 8 hours. And it's high res, which has its, they say you can read a license plate from, with these things, but what you're getting here may not be quite that clear, but you are able to like look through it and check the trail. It's, the trails well enough to know the cash money trail that Luke must have been on. And tracing back through it, you indeed can see where 3 hours ago, Luke, you get a shot, you see a dot, as in you move down, must be Luke going up the trail, and you get another shot, and because you're hitting that big 12, I'm going to give you this. You can see where Luke has reached something there, and as you pull in, enhance, you could see that there is a body splayed out in a small clearing off the trail.
It's so creepy that they have this.
But what makes catch you, you keep going back where Luke, before Luke gets there, you push back all the way to the 8th hour where this thing was. And the last image, as you're looking over that area, you see something near the body. A black shape. It looks like some sort of animal. And as close as you could get to it, though, it's no bear. But it's not like it's feeding on the body. It's not like it's not grabbed hold of the body. You would swear that it's just standing there beside it. And as close as this image can get down to it, it looks almost like it's kneeling beside it.
I just kind of beckon, I guess Lars is driving, so I beckon Preston over, and I just point at it. I just show him the image because it makes no sense to me.
I think he's a little dazed in the moment, but
yeah, let's have you go ahead and roll your move.
So I've rolled, and I have a question.
Yes.
looking at the time, looking at shenanigans, is it really bad if I fail this roll? Or would it be interesting and still work with the motive of the plot and things like that to have it fail?
I don't think I might. I mean, I don't think it's going to destroy. If you chose to say use a luck, it might give you some bigger information. But I have something pretty cool for the fail if you want to do it.
Okay, I want the cool failure.
All right.
I want the cool failure. Yeah. Also, because of my dark side, that stuff becomes a little more prevalent having messed about with this, I think, from my understanding of the playbook.
Yeah, let's see. Your dark side's going to come out. Let me pull that down. Many tabs. There we go. All right. Pulling up the spooky real quick. There you are. For your dark side. Where is that stuff? I know it's there. It is. Okay. And yours is secrets?
I have 3 of them. They are lust, secrets, and hallucinations.
Nice. Okay. You're trying to connect with this thing, and you like you say you tried it with a squirrel before, but it was there, and it had such a simple mind. But as you're reaching out for this, all you could feel is this unbelievable guilt and sorrow, this overwhelming sadness, this longing for release and loneliness. And as it's almost overwhelming you, you get this image in your head. You see this very pretty woman, blonde hair. She's wearing an old-fashioned dress. It's simple, but it's pretty. And you see that she's wearing a locket, an old camisole style. And you see her holding it, and she looks up like she's looking right in your face. She goes, I don't know what to say. I mean, if my husband knew, he'd be very mad, but it sure is pretty. And you hear yourself saying, not nearly as pretty as you. Huh. Now, Myra, you shouldn't say that. I'm a married woman. And you see your hands coming up almost, they're not your hands. They're a woman's hands. As she reaches over and she pulls this pretty lady to her. She says, we can leave this place, you and me. We can get away. Myra, I don't know. And then you kiss. And from behind you, you hear this voice. What are you doing with my wife? And the vision is gone. And you're staring at that phone in front of you where you see that creature. You know it's the dog, but you know it's that woman you just were. You know the sadness. You know the regret of what she's having to do, what she's become.
And I think he's like taking these deep breaths, and he's gone like pale, very pale. By the way, I've also attracted its attention with this move. It knows I looked at it. And he sort of like takes this deep breath. Myra, do we know anyone named Myra? Is there anyone in town? Myra, does that name?
None of y'all, no, none of y'all. When Preston says that, none of you know her. It doesn't ring a bell. And again, you're pretty sure, Preston, having looked at this woman, this other woman,
Mm-hmm.
a name is in your head, Polly Pritchett. And looking at the clothes, this is a memory from long ago.
Holly Pritchett, yeah. Holly Pritchett and Cloud Pritchett. It's something with the Pritchetts.
Every 10 years.
Every 10 years, it's Pritchett. I think one of the Pritchetts. I think she was in love with another lady, and her husband caught her. It was a real long time ago, and they did something, and that's her. And he like presses his finger against the phone, like where the dark shape is.
Yeah.
And she's mighty lonely, and he says that, and like a tear sort of like falls from the corner of his eye. He doesn't even realize it.
As you touch the phone, none of the rest of you see this, but you, Preston, that shape, its head looks up at you, and those red eyes stare right back at you. I'd like for you to take 2 harm.
Oof. Oh boy. Yeah, I think he like screams and falls, back onto the ground.
Preston, are you okay? Are you okay? What happened?
And he's like putting a hand on his head, because I imagine that's where the pain is. And she's angry at me. I saw her, and she's real angry at me. And like, there's probably maybe like even a bruise on his like forehead.
Oh wow! Is it like the handprint or paw print shaped bruise?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's like a big ass paw print that like maybe
Preston, I'm not asking to be a jerk. I'm asking because I gotta ask. Sissy's really into Luke, right?
Yeah, Sissy's really into Luke, but she's not mean about it. She's not.
No,
pushy.
Sissy's nice.
It's her mama.
Yeah,
and, like,
that's what I'm saying.
covers his mouth when he says that, because like you don't speak all your elders like that.
Preston, that's what I'm saying. It's a family thing.
Yeah,
You know how parents get when they think they're looking out for you and they do something really dumb?
No.
Well, all right. Believe me when I say sometimes parents think they're looking out for you and they do something dumb and they do the wrong thing. All right. Just believe me that happens. All right. What if one of Sissy's ancestors did the wrong thing to try to help Sissy out? What if that's where Tammy is?
Maybe it's lonely. Maybe it doesn't want Sissy to be lonely.
Yeah.
Maybe it's worried Sissy. I have to ask. Did Sissy ever look at Tammy any kind of way?
I'll go ahead. I almost squash this one out.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
They were very, very close friends, but no, that's not our correlation we're getting.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Maybe, and she was, I don't know, Miss Pritchett she was yelling and hollering real loud at Mr. Rollins earlier tonight, and about Tammy about Sissy not getting the respect that she deserves for her niceness. And
oh no.
I'm worried about Mr. Rollins, but I don't think this thing wants to hurt people. I think it goes after people that hurt other people.
This isn't fair. I thought all this stuff was just going to be, spooky things in swamps and stuff, but this is all tied in with family and
it's not nice.
It's not nice.
I think with that statement, Lars, you're up front. You can kind of hear this going on behind you, but you've driven up to where that trailhead is, and I think you were wanting to pull to the side so that you wouldn't be observed, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, although it kind of like loses the value now that we know everything there is to know from here. It kind of loses the value of even coming here.
It's up to you.
But yeah, we
All
are
right.
here.
You wait there probably about 40 minutes while behind you those two are, I think that there was some time that was taken with the download. I think part of the connecting and the vision of that took some time there. So I think that the vision conversation happened after we'd already parked, and I think we see the ambulance drive off, and we see the sheriff's, the deputy's car following along behind. And Lars, I'm going to have, because they're kind of engrossed in their moment, so I'm going to have you get out and on your own go to just where they were parked. I mean, if you go up the trail, you can take them or whatever, but just this initial thing, because you see as you pull in
Sure.
that there's something laying in the on the ground there. You get out, and as you move over to it, you see that it's a kind of like a spiral notebook. And you can see that written across the top is Deputy Sherry Manson.
Mm-hmm.
And it has a whole
Mhm.
bunch of like papers stuck into it. As you pick it up, inside you can see that Sherry, despite what she's been saying, she's taken this black dog pretty seriously, because she has a whole series of photocopies of the town newspaper showing deaths in October,
Mhm.
animal attacks or disappearances, freak accidents. They stretch back all the way to 1880, which is the first one. As you're looking down, reading this story, it's a story of kind of a tragic occurrence. Polly Pritchett and her husband, and I believe I gave his name. What didn't I? It was Clyde. Yes, were found dead up near the Cash Money shaft. Seems as though, as far as the paper reports, Clyde took a pickaxe and killed her. And then someone took the pickaxe back into him. The report says that there were animal tracks around, but no people. They are looking for Myra Stone, school teacher who'd come into town to teach the kids. She's disappeared. There are a few more articles that follow. The search continued for Myra, but nobody had been able to find her. And this is being ruled as a double murder. They list off the people that survive Polly and Clyde. Has her parents, has his parents. They also had a daughter. And it's mentioned in there that the daughter, she's 12, is going to be taken in by the grandparents, and that there's a picture. It's one of these very early daguerreotypes for there, so it's really kind of grainy. But you notice the parents standing there in their morning clothes and this little girl. But she has a locket around her neck.
Yeah. Well, I will probably bring in the book into the RV and study it openly so that others can also see it, because I am the dumbest of this party and I don't know any of this stuff. So yeah, I'm probably like reading it through so that the others can chip in and connect the dots.
Just to clarify really quickly, because there's a lot going on. Myra was the one who was given the necklace by Polly?
No,
Or was Polly?
Myra gave Polly the
Polly.
necklace.
Okay, Myra gave Polly the necklace, and I was seeing through Myra
You were seeing through Myra's
Okay.
eyes.
All right. So I think you bring that, and like you come in, and when you come in, I think you maybe weren't there for like the fallback moment because you were getting this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so like immediately Preston sort of comes up, he sees that paper, and like he points at that locket, and he's got this big palm print bruise on his face. And he's just like, that's the locket I saw, and that Myra gave to Polly. It's Myra out there, and I don't know if she's trying to hurt this family or protect it, or I think maybe some kind of both. But
Zach, you have a hold still, don't you, on your Connect the Dots?
I do. Thank you so much. Yeah, the thing I'm most interested in is the motivation of the monster at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So the question becomes...
And you can finagle these questions a little bit.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll take all the elbow room you give me. I want to know what the monster wants from Tammy.
Mm. You're sure that, and we're going to use monster, and I think that you're going to realize kind of as you're thinking of it, that maybe the dog ain't really the monster.
Yeah, yeah.
And the dog had to take Tammy away, had to get rid of Tammy. It didn't want to. It had to. And it has somewhere. It could take young women. It doesn't like men. But it could take young women somewhere. Somewhere that even the monster can't get them.
Oh.
Out of curiosity, GM, have I ever seen any of the Pritchett women wearing that locket?
You have not seen that locket.
Okay.
But you have seen Babs like reach under her shirt and rub something. And now that you're hearing this, you remember from your vision that she was doing that. You know, when that black dog was there and she gets into the car, you saw her reach under her shirt and kind of rubbing something.
He immediately like hauls ass up from where he was like kind of half kneeling to look at this paper, and he looks at Lars and he's like, "We need to go to the Pritchett house now.
We got to find where the bear is taking people.
We got to make sure that the bear's keeping people. Bear's going to keep people safe, but I'm more concerned about this bear hurting and doing what it don't want to do. It's not a bear. It's a lady. It's Myra. Myra's being forced with the necklace, and it's God, you were right. Babs Pritchett's a bitch.
Well, I feel like that's a major moment in your development, Preston.
It is.
Help somebody a bit.
And he just like
oh
sort
shit!
of
I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to be a jerk, but that was jerky. I'm sorry, Preston.
No, you're all great. No, he's like not now. We'll hopefully never deal with this actually again after. We need to go to the Pritchett household. The bear ain't gonna hurt the bear. Myra, not the bear. Myra ain't gonna hurt those girls. She don't want to hurt those girls.
Lars, you're hearing all this. What you thinking of it?
It reminds me that I, as a player, am horribly bad at resolving mysteries. But I think I have dealt with something like this before. So I want to troll through my memories to find out, to think, how did I deal with such things in the past?
Very good. All righty. Let me look up here at expert and see your move. And troll your memories. Yes. Shucks. Where is it?
The dark past.
There it is. Yes. So let's have you roll weird.
I got a 7.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I'll give you a little something to start with, and then you can answer your question.
Mm-hmm.
You have dealt with people. Generally, it's like demonologists, people who use things to exert their will. That in a lot of these cases, it's not the creature or the being that they summon that is the true danger. It is the controller that is. And whatever it is that they use forms a connection to it. And that, that takes a lot of forms, but severing that connection is how you've dealt with it in the past. What questions would you like to ask?
Yeah, I think you practically answered the first question. When I dealt with this creature or one of its kind, what did I learn? So if I'm picturing this right, I'm still unsure. So was Mara back in the day some kind of a monster, and now she's being controlled, or is her? I'm kind of blanking on this one.
Okay.
So we have the necklace as some kind of like a control device, but was Mara actually a monster somehow? Is she like some kind of like a werebeast being controlled?
Okay, so your question is what was the nature of this creature? I think that works well. What has happened to make this creature be used like this?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to answer it like this. And it's going to tie back to when you were young, growing up here in Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
And you can remember a time when your parents and your little brother, there had been something that had gone on at the farm. And you were having some problems with livestock there. And, back then, y'all had kept a few things. And something was causing them trouble. So much so that despite this being so outside of your father's usual thing to do, he'd given a call to Granny McLean and ask her to come by, maybe to look over the animals. She's somebody who knows this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you can remember, her coming, and she brought her bag of stuff. And now that you look back on it, it wasn't like medicine. It was, there were some herbs, but the stuff she was doing, it strikes you as she had the gift. Once she finished, she took your father to the side and maybe just wasn't paying attention that you were there listening.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I'm going to tell you, Mr. Falkenberg, sometimes these animals, they'll roam a little outside the corral. They'll get down in some of these hollers. Now, Dalton, I know your family ain't been here long. Round Dalton, you stumbled into something wrong, things will happen to you. These hills, they listen. These hills, they want to do things. They don't rest easy here, Mr. Falkenberg. Sometimes these hills will give a gift. Sometimes they'll give a curse. Now, I've done what I can. why don't you keep your animals a little closer? Don't let them graze so far out of your pasture. And, well, Mr. Falkenberg, I'd look to any neighbors who might be, not so happy that you've moved in. People like that, they'll wish maybe that you hadn't come. They'll say something into the night air, and these hills will listen. And that story just kind of comes back to you. And while you've left Dalton all those years ago, there is something dark around these hills. And something like this, a murder, someone you love, a desire for revenge, the regret of not protecting them, well, sometimes the hills will listen. Does that seem a fair answer, or?
Alrighty. Yeah. Yeah. Let's drive to. Actually, any of you have a driving license? Because I'll pop into to the workshop shop in the back, and you can in the meantime drive. But don't drive too fast. I need some moments of peace in the workshop, and you just like drive toward the Rollins. Yes, we are going to Rollins. Yes.
No, we're going to Pritchett.
Okay.
All right.
Zach, can you drive?
I mean, I've never driven anything this big before, but I can drive a tractor.
Okay, yeah, I drive a small car. You drive the tractor. And he sort of pushes you front, but he also kind of has something he wants to do, and he's biting his lips, and he looks nervous about it. And I think he kind of sits in the back and watches as you're doing this workshop thing. And he's hemming and hawing real. Like he looks like on his face like he wants to do something, but he's unsure if it's the right thing to do. His foot's tapping. You said
seems like something is worrying you, Preston.
You said people could be monsters, right?
Either werbeasts or vampires who pretend to be humans. Stuff's real.
Is it monstrous to use these things to maybe inhibit someone or do something? But if you know they're a bad person, but you're still directing this on them, and that don't make someone a monster, right? You're trying to help people.
I'm not sure what you're getting at, Preston. Are you worried that you are a monster?
I'm worried that this could make me one. But
it's all about intention, Preston. You have a gift. You could become a monster. You could become so-called witch, like I suppose the old lady, the granny. She also has a gift. You could probably maybe go and learn a thing or two from her. It's about the intention. If you intend to use your gift to hurt the others or get your will over the others, then you could fall into being a monster. But you could also use your gift to help others protect themselves or protect them, in which case you will not be a monster.
So if I'm protecting it, and it's like his hands are kind of like shaking a little, he's rubbing his thumbs together. If I'm protecting people, innocent people, then it's not bad. I'm not a monster.
There is a saying that goes, kill fire with fire. In order to stop monsters, all of us have to use the tools that monsters use. And whether that's a flamethrower or whether that's a bit of the dark arts, Yes, and whether these are dark arts, like I said, it's all about the ongoing intention. If you might want to hurt someone, but if you are doing this to protect,
I don't want to hurt anyone, and like that, like immediately comes out of his mouth. Like I don't want to hurt anyone.
well, me neither. But sometimes we do have to do it.
And he sort of nods his head a little, but doesn't look 100% sure. But he's gonna like pick at that hem of his sleeve, and he wants to attempt to jinx Babs Pritchett.
Nice.
All right. Let's have you roll this one. And I'll say this one could be dangerous.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Since I'm attempting to jinx Babs Pritchett with the intention of preventing her from harming, Marvin Rollins, does my forward come into play here?
Yes.
Okay. Please, 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 please. Yes. Okay. It's a 9.
Ooh. Very good. This might be a moment for a help.
Please.
Yeah. Lars or Zach, either one I could see having.
I'm kind of driving.
Okay. So, not able to help at the moment. Lars, do you think you could help you? I think you are savvy enough that you recognize when the supernatural is around you.
Yeah, he's trying to tap into this.
Yeah, describe to me what you're actually doing, because I'm not sure if I'm even aware of what you're doing.
I think he doesn't realize this. I think he's picking at the hem of his like sleeve, but his eyes have like rolled back into his head and like are all white or something, and he doesn't even realize it. Maybe he's like humming something.
Yeah, I suppose Lars would grab you so that you don't fall, because we are standing in the moving vehicle, and he would say, Preston, control it. Think of it. Think of that you want to help someone. Don't think that you want to hurt someone. Keep this thought. Control it.
Nice.
Can't help otherwise without jinxing. So.
So on this help out, I think. Yeah, let's roll the help out, but I think I'm going to have you roll with weird on this rather than cool.
It's a 13 anyway.
Okay.
I have +1 in both stats actually, so.
Excellent. You grant that +1. You don't get sucked in to what's going on, but I think you feel that energy. You feel Preston's gift surging as Preston, you get a 10 on a jinx there.
Oh, yes, I do. Alrighty. So first and foremost, I'm going to try and use the term monster here loosely, but interfere with what a monster is trying to do.
And I think we've sort of established that Babs is our monster.
Yeah. So yeah, she's a human, but she's a monster. So yeah, so I want to interfere with whatever she's trying to do right now.
Okay.
And do I have to immediately pick the second one, or can I hold it?
I think you do, because you're kind of sending this out right now.
Okay. Yeah. Can I do the I already did that one. How about help a hunter, giving them +1 forward by interfering with their enemy?
Okay. Who are you helping?
Let's give that to Lars.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that as this, this energy happens and it sends out, I think that Lars, you feel a jolt of it, kind of like some of it passed through you as it went. And somewhere up ahead, something occurs. But Zach, you're driving not super fast, carefully.
Very careful. Well, I'm getting as much speed as I can. It's going to be a bumpy trip.
And you know where the Pritchett's live. And the Pritchett's old family, so they have, they don't live near town. So you pull off the main road, and there's the of an RV kind of getting onto a dirt road. And
Thumpita.
as you're moving down, you see someone running towards you, and you recognize that it's Sissy.
I screech to a halt. There's probably like some drift on the back of the RV.
Oh,
and I'm yelling back over my shoulder, Preston, it's Sissy.
Preston probably like falls over because he's standing. But
and I think she gets to the window before anyone in the back, because there's a lot been going on, and that there's sort of a moment going on there. She gets to the window, and Zach, you got to get me out of here.
Get in. What's going on?
She runs around to the passenger side and opens the door. Mama's done gone crazy.
All right, you stay here. Don't go in the back. It's Uncle Lars's place, and he leaves it real messy. But we got to go deal with this. That's why we're here.
She says, "You should leave. Mama's got this creature. It's the black dog."
It's not the black. It's kind of difficult to explain right now, but it's an ancestor. Why don't you just wait here and lock the doors?
And Zach's called back to y'all in the back, and actually you head up there to see Sissy is just shaking, and she's kind of almost in shock. She's so scared.
Really quick, because I'm not very familiar with RVs. I can get to like where she's sitting, right? Right.
There's usually a divider in between the front and the back.
Yeah. So I think once he picks himself off from falling on the ground when the RV short stopped, he's gonna like rush up towards those windows, like scrabbling on his knees as fast as he needs to get over. He's like, Sissy, you Sissy, are you okay?
Huh? Oh, Preston! And she throws her arms around you.
I hold her tight and squeeze.
Mama, something happened. Mama was in a room, and she came out, and she was rubbing on Granny's special gift, and then through the door came this creature. It had red eyes, and it was bigger than a bear.
Zach, drive. Keep going. Drive.
Yeah, we're like there, right? Like, are we close?
Oh, are we there? Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was running up the way from you. So yeah, I mean, it's just up ahead.
Okay, Sissy. Okay, Sissy. Okay. All right. I'm gonna need you to be real brave for a moment. I know you're not time to hold back. I know you're sweet on Luke, but that don't matter. You love, and he's like got his hands on her shoulder, like and he's like holding her face. You love Tammy. We love each other. We're family. We grew up together. You don't want anything.
She's my best friend in the whole wide world.
Yeah. So I need you to trust me, and go back in there with me, and we're gonna fix this, and we're gonna save Tammy.
You need to roll and manipulate someone.
Okay. Remind me really quick. That's charm, right?
That's charm.
Okay.
And I'll say for you, Lars, Preston asking her to do this, something clicks. Something that would break this connection. If this is an ancestral item, then it could be broken by someone of the bloodline.
I got a 10.
If you say so, Preston, but it's real scary.
I know, but I'm gonna protect you. And he like pats his like leg where the knife is, and he's like, "I got you, and we're gonna save Tammy, and we're gonna make this right. But I promise you, that thing, it don't want to hurt you. But we're gonna make it right. It don't want to hurt anyone."
All right. And so you get out of the RV. Lars, are you taking any weapons with you?
Yeah, the problem is that I don't know what will hurt it. So I think I have to change some moves and learn what can hurt this thing, because I need to at least hold it back for some time.
Right. So, and we had the thing going on with Preston, but you'd already gone back there to work on something. So, are you doing, say, your weird science on this?
I don't think so. I don't have an idea how to use it. I probably use armory, but I also don't know what will hurt the beast.
I think with the nature of the armory, you can, let's see, pulling up. Oh, starting. There we go. With the nature of the armory, you can pull out something that's almost like it's a supernatural weapon, right?
Mystic and rare monster killing weapons.
So, yeah, roll weird. So this will be for you to try and figure out what might work against this.
It's an 8.
All right. I think that, you kind of look over all the things you have, and, some of it's pretty high tech. But your eye sort of settles on something very low tech indeed. You have a crossbow, and you have one blessed bolt.
Yeah, I take the bow. I take the bolt. I load the crossbow, and I say, "Man, I wish I had some priest on hand to create more of this, but one will have to do." Yeah, and I load it into the crossbow, and I say, "Kids, I'm gonna storm in. I'm gonna occupy the beast, whatever it is. You have to take hold of this ancestral necklace, and once you do, we should somehow." I got a hunch that maybe Sissy can, say that she doesn't want it, that she doesn't, that she refuses to use it, something like this. We have to break this connection.
Preston's nodding his head yes.
All right.
I see you are getting at what I'm hinting. So yeah.
But I think he also puts a hand on the arm that has the crossbow, and he's like, "Myra doesn't want to hurt people. She's not. She got dealt real dirty hand here. Be mindful. Mm-hmm. We don't hurt people. We help them. That's what you said."
That's what I said, but in the moment, she will do probably whatever
No. I don't want to hear it.
What is it's not the brooch, it's the necklace.
Yeah,
you gotta give her a chance.
The locket.
Or the locket, yeah.
But in the moment, she will probably do whatever the locket holder wants her to do. So I'm going to hold her back.
We'll see.
Well, that just means it's our job to distract the locket holder.
We're gonna do it. So just don't aim. And his throat sort of spasms a moment if he can't get the word out. Don't aim to kill. And just goes to take Sissy out towards it.
And so, as a group, you begin moving up towards the house. You can see it's a 2-story farmhouse. And as you're coming up the drive, you can see the lights are all on and the door opens. Stepping out onto the porch, you see Babs.
Move Sissy behind me a little.
Mm-hmm.
You see she's pulled out, and there's that locket, and she's rubbing it. She looks down there. Sissy, you come on back to Mama now.
Mrs. Pritchett, respectfully, I'd like you to please stop touching the locket.
Now, sissy, you bringing your friends here? This is family business. And stepping out the door is the dog of Dalton. First time the three of you have seen it completely clear. It stands nearly 5 feet at the shoulder. Its head is a massive block of muscle and teeth. It is sinewy muscles underneath its black coat and its red eyes. And despite the fearful appearance of it, it isn't staring at you. It's staring right at the back of Barb. But Barb pulls that locket and rubs it. Dog?
Her name ain't Dog. Her name is... It's not her name. Don't call her Dog.
The dog sort of steps forward reluctantly between you and Barb. Mama, what's going on? Sweetie, it's time for you to know the truth about Great Granny's gift, because it's going to be yours one day. Lars, what are you doing?
We are out in the open. It's probably gonna be hard to get anywhere, so I need to occupy the dog. I want to look around for a place that I could, for anything I think I can use to keep the dog busy while giving the others a moment. So,
Okay. I'm going to offer here that you could either be protecting someone, distracting the dog so that you're protecting the two of them, or it could be an act under pressure for you to just try and draw it away. I kind of like that protect someone, but what do you think? Because act under pressure would work as well.
I was actually thinking at the not very often used move, read the bad situation here first, and then seeing
Okay.
how to work.
Yeah, let's have that roll.
But no, I'm mindful of time. Let's avoid it. I'm going to step in. I'm going to draw my massive hand cannon. I'm going to aim in their general direction, and I'm going to shout, "Human, drop that locket. Tell the dog to go away." And
Excellent.
I'm not going to fire. I just want to keep all attention on me.
You're wanting to make you the target.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to, she sees you with the weapon, because you've got that crossbow across your back. You got this big gun. You definitely look like the threat. Not to mention the other two are kind of kids. I mean, Zach's in his early 20s, but still, comparatively, you look like the big danger.
I'm an adult.
She says, "Dog, kill him." And you can almost hear the ground thudding as it moves, rushing towards you, Lars.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, what are you doing as you see this dog charge towards your uncle?
I actually completely trust Lars to handle this. He's a professional. He told me so. So I'm just gonna go in and tackle Babs. I want to go. I want to spear her. I want to bring her to the ground, and I want to get that pendant off her.
All right. Sounds
I
like
am
you're
not
kicking
skilled at
some
this.
ass. So let's roll with tough and see how that goes.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, that is a flat 0. That is an 8. I'll take it.
Ooh, all right. With an 8, we're going to be trading some damage. So you rush forward and smash into Babs, knocking her down. But since we're doing that mixed result, she's hanging on to that locket. with
Mhm.
one hand, but with her other hand, she reaches up and just digs her nails from your brow straight across your eye and down your cheek.
Oh.
And she draws blood. She doesn't manage to like scratch your eye out, but you could feel where you squint. You are going to take 2 points of harm.
Yeah, I am.
But you've got her knocked out and certainly occupied at the moment. And Sissy goes, Mama, no. And Preston, what are you doing?
So I'm gonna take Sissy's hand and be like, I just need you to trust me, please. And I'm gonna like rush forward to where Zach has Babs like knocked down, and I'm gonna try and wrench this necklace off her, so I can give it to Sissy.
All right. Let's have you do. I think that's going to be act under pressure. I think that's pretty straightforward on act under pressure.
Yeah. Act under pressure is
Rolling
cool.
with cool.
All right. So that is a 0 modifier. Oh, okay. It's a 10.
Very nice. You reach down there and you grab at this locket, and she, the chain rips and she's got it, and the two of you are kind of like play tug of war a little bit. She's still over there, kind of at Zach as he's on top of her.
Stop it, Miss Bridget.
As you two pull, the locket kind of flies out of both of your grasp and goes flying. And we see it kind of in the air, the moonlight glistening off of it. As the dog reaches you, Lars, and it is leaping forward, its massive jaws open. I'm going to ask what you would like to do. Are you going to try and dodge? You going to try and fight it? What do you think you're going to do?
I think.
Don't hurt Myra.
I think I'm.
Maybe a little hurt Myra.
It's really hard. Yeah, I think as the dog is rushing at me, I probably like empty the clip from the cannon. Then as it's close, I'm like probably going for the knife. I'm trying to fight defensively, but I'm definitely fighting it and occupying it on myself. So,
all right, let's have you do the kick some ass. I think that especially on its high end, if you get 10 plus, you're really going to be able to do what you're talking about. And even at the 7 to 9 or whatever, we're getting the occupied.
Yeah.
So rolling tough.
Isn't going so well for me. It's a 6.
Ooh, and I don't think anybody's really in a great position to help you right now.
Wait, do you have that +1? You have that +1, right? Or have you used that? Don't you have that +1?
I have +1 against the monster. I'm not sure if against the dog.
I think it's monster or minions, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I think it's monsters or minions. Yeah.
Okay. In this case, we get a 7.
All right. It's going to clamp down on your arm with that knife, and it's doing 3 harm as it bites down on your arm, and you kind of are digging that knife back at it, but and holding it up, and this thing is so you're struggling against it.
Yeah, I'm probably like shouting faster as I'm struggling, and I'm trying really not to stab the beast too much. Just keep it on me.
As the locket drops down into Sissy's hand.
Of course it does. Preston's head just whips around and he looks at it. Sissy, I need you to rub the locket and tell Myra you want her to stop. You don't want no more violence. You want to save Tammy, right?
Don't hurt. I don't want nobody to get hurt. I want Tammy back. I just want this all to be over. Lars, you feel those jaws unclench. And Babs is like, no, Sissy, that's your gift. All us Pritchard women, that's our gift.
It was a gift that you squandered, that you spoiled. You turned love into hate, Mrs. Pritchett.
You owe your family as much as your family owes you. You can't just take from your ancestors. You knew anything about family, you'd know that.
She's in that stage in between just absolute fury and like kind of brokenhearted because the dog drops down off of you, Lars, and comes walking over to Sissy. And Sissy looks at it and says, I think this belongs to you. And she puts the chain around the dog's neck.
Mm-hmm.
And as she does, the three of you watch as that creature changes. It transforms. And you see this woman, black hair. She's beautiful, but it's the sort of beauty of someone who's been through a lot. And as she stands there, kind of stepping out of nothingness, you see a woman with blonde hair just appear, and the two of them lock eyes, and then they run together and embrace.
You two deserve to be happy, Myra, Polly. I'm sorry for what you've been through.
They kind of look around at all of you, and then they look back at each other, and there's nothing else in the world that they see but each other as they lean in and kiss, and then are gone.
Wait, no, where's Tammy?
They're gone. And
No worries. I get the feel that we will find Tammy down the mine shaft. We'll go there in the morning.
Or now? With
Now
police
sounds
escort? Now?
Or now, after I take care of this nasty bite, we can go there.
Sure.
And I think we're going to kind of, the scene fades down. And because of time, I think I'm going to just do a quick little epilogue touch
Rocket.
of, indeed, arm wrapped, you and Sherry are heading up towards the mine. And Sherry's like, I don't know what in the world is making me willing to do. This is just crazy. So what in the world has gone on with Babs? The sheriff says that she's practically out of her head. And as you reach, you see the entrance of the mine. She shines her flashlight. See, I told you, there's nothing. And as she stops, you see walking out Tammy, and then behind her, other girls, other young women, dressed in clothes stretching back decades, over a century. What the holy hell? And that's where the scene is.
That's wild. That's excellent.
Wait, how old are the girls? Have any of them aged?
They're all look just all young.
That's wild.
And that, my friends, was the Black Dog of Dalton. Thank you for playing.
Oh my god.
Thank you for running. That was
Thank you
excellent.
for running that. Yeah, that was amazing.
If we have maybe 10 minutes, I know we're close to time. I'd love to do just a quick round of maybe stars. We won't do wishes per se, but if we could do something that, kind of, if you have a critique or a thing to bring up, we could even call it thorns. But stars are something that you enjoyed in the game, something from your fellow players, something about the system, something that went on that you enjoyed. And a thorn would be something that you wish had been a little different, or could have been handled a little differently, or that something about the system or what I did. And believe me, I have been thorned by some of the worst out there. I've suffered a Rich Rogers thorning, so I can certainly handle just about anything. So please feel free. I'm going to go around and let's first do our thorns, and then we can end on our stars, so that way we have a happy note. So I'm going to start with you, Zach, and we'll go around to you. With you, Bryant, and go around to finish with you, Pavel, and then Pavel, I'll have you start with stars, and we'll go back around. So, Bryant, anything in there that you wish was a little different, or wish you'd have seen more, or kind of regret didn't happen?
No, I got no thorns, no complaints. Lot of cast at the beginning to take in and assimilate, but I think it worked out just fine. And really solid. Happy with the game throughout.
Cool. Kay, anything in there that you wish you'd seen or had a little different or whatever?
Well, first and foremost, like similar to Bryant, fantastic. Like, I was a little hesitant about 12 a.m. game, but wow. Like, I hesitate to call it a thorn. I think it's more like a suggestion. For like that whole like sort of wrap up thing. Just another GM does something that I really like. Which in one shots where it's like where he goes around and each of the people get to sort of, I guess, give like a bit of like not a solo scene, but a like, hey, what do you do after this?
I would normally have done an individual epilogue. I was just so pressed on time, I decided to just go with a single out based on what it sounded like y'all wanted to do.
Okay. Yeah,
but
no, and
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, but other than that, like I hazard to find an issue here. Like, this was a ridiculously enjoyable game.
Well, thank you. Pavel, any thorns? I know I can always have faith that you'll give me the straight shot.
I wish I get more description of Preston using magic. Because it's always cool, especially that Preston was the only one using magic. I think that maybe if you had all of these NPCs already in the handout, we would save few moments on putting them here, especially that there's like a long list of the NPCs. So that's one thing, especially that you knew what you were going to be running. So that's a good point. I'm not really sure, like, if the setup that we are not really hunters, that we are like kind of like a, beginner Cthulhu investigators worked, because we spent like half an hour to like get even into the mystery. For a one shot, I would probably like cut into somewhere like investigating something somewhere.
Absolutely.
So these are my thorns. Going into stars, I really like that we make it somehow work. That we were not a team of hunters. We kind of became a team of hunters. It was really interesting to see Zachary and Preston not really getting along at the beginning, and then slowly getting to work together. It was really cool. It was really nice to see that the monster wasn't really a monster, and that there was an option to like dispel it. It was cool. Yeah,
Excellent.
I had a good time.
Good. Thank you very much, Pavel. Kay, any stars?
Yeah. First and foremost, your descriptions are just riveting. Like, I really got into it. Like, that whole, I felt like I was like watching a movie. That whole scene during that sort of failed vision between Myra and Polly, like, that was phenomenal. Different tenors of different characters that you had were really great. I also very much like that for like Pavel and Bryant, like, you guys honed in on your characters in such a way, like even when it was maybe not necessarily best for you, like, you went with who Zach and who Lars really are, versus Lars being like, I won't do that. He lying. It's easy to tell because that's just who Zach is. And I like that, a lot of times in role-playing games, a lot of people try to amp up their characters and make them these perfect people. And I like when they have solid foundations of struggle or of not being that perfect. So I think you both did that splendidly.
Thank you very, very much. And Bryant, any stars?
Yeah. So first off, that sort of Southern occult. I'm a huge Manly Wade Wellman fan. If you know the Silver Dawn story.
I know.
I figured you probably would. So I didn't realize how up my alley this was going to be. This was a great setting. Super, like, yeah, that was great. This is an area I love exploring, so I appreciate that. Let's see. Pavel, like, I love it when other players ask me questions about my character, right? Like, that's like, I love being asked questions about the character during character creation, but like reaching out and seeing and like teasing that out and making me think about that was like super awesome and enjoyable. Also huge appreciation, like the kids thing, that was interesting. And it was actually what I was in the mood for. You spent a lot of time making sure that things would move forward and being the adult in the room. And I appreciate that you were willing to take on that role and do that, right? Like that was really important to the game working. And I thought it was great. Kay, thank you for the conflict, right? Like a lot, like that was awesome. My character was being a jerk and being called on it was really, really good. I appreciated that. Like, I realized about a quarter of the way through that Zach's probably gay. Like, I don't know, but like, I don't know if that manifested for anybody else or not. And like, your role play like gave me that gift. It was super, super awesome. So I appreciate that immensely. This was a great game. Thank you guys. It's my second Gauntlet game. Like, this is the first time I've dipped my toe in these waters, and like, this was great.
Yeah, I've never played a Gauntlet game before. I've heard about it though, and have tried to get in and not had much luck with that. And like, I had an absolute blast.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear. Thank you, Bryant. And I'm going to wrap up with, Pablo, you're absolutely correct. There is no excuse for me not having those NPCs in there, except my terrible, terrible laziness. And so, but you're right. That would have saved time, and it's because I have such a big cast. That is something I should have done, and there's not a good excuse for me not to have. I do also recognize that this is front loaded with a lot of story, and I hope that there was something to the drawing folks into the story, but it is a long front load.
Yeah, so I kind of actually want to I like that in a game. I can't speak for everyone, but like I loved teasing those moments out, and I lived for the small moments where the little conversations gave us details, because it wasn't a directly I'm gonna search this place, but it was more indirect sleuthing of talking to the right people, mentioning the right things, just because it wasn't necessarily I'm at crime scene X and talking to this person or looking at this tree. I don't think that doesn't necessarily make it investigation mysteries. Again, talking to the sheriff and finding out about these other cases, talking to and finding out about, I think his name was Robert, or Ralph. His name was Ralph. But I think that it is front loaded per se in a more talkative way. But I actually really loved that. It let you meld into character and allowed, I think, me at least, to smoothly integrate a lot of the moves into what was actually going on, instead of just sort of ham-fisting, well, I'm going to roll to investigate a thing.
I'll admit, one-shots are not my super forte. As Pavel will attest, I like to talk. So I play out best in multiple sessions. It is always a struggle for me to try to make sure we're pacing. I've been pleased with this adventure in that I have managed to get to the end every time. We haven't just had to go to epilogues to wrap. And so I've been really pleased with that. Let's see. That was, I didn't get to my stars. I wanted to say, Brian, I loved Zach. I loved kind of you say he was a jerk, but I liked the fact that he really was a believer who hadn't quite realized what believing was. And, that energy was super interesting. And then having the bickering between you two, because there was a point in there that I was going, am I letting them get a little too rough there? Should I check in to make sure we're okay with this level? But you and Kay, y'all worked it out together and made it really strong story. And so, I'm glad I trusted. Let's let this play. Let's make sure we're seeing. But, I loved how you did it. And I loved how by the end of it, we feel there's a different relationship. I really do think that's neat. And also with Brian, I can see Zach bugging Lars to go off with him and do stuff.
Maybe. It's hard to
Yeah.
tell, right? Like for me, one of the marks of a quality one shot is, wow, it would be interesting to develop these characters further. And there's a lot of potential story that'll always float out there in
I also
land. But that was really, really
I also
cool.
really like on that tagline note, that development we saw in Zach is very much this back in the shadows, observing, looking, to immediately going and tackling Babs Pritchett.
Mm-hmm. That was very
that
solid.
impetus there, that growth from maybe being around Lars or realizing the situation, from someone who believes but doesn't touch to someone physically interacting in that moment, I think was very engaging.
And I want to say, Kay, I really liked how you personified Preston. The hesitation, also the kind of that upbringing of almost faith and family and, being the right person and that struggle within of what the dark side was. You really made it real. And that's very, very nice. And it was still done subtly. I mean, it wasn't ham-fisted. It wasn't over the top. It was very real. And that's good role play. That's just solid work.
Thank you.
And
I wanted to comment, if I can. Sorry, because you're just running me this conversation we had about being a monster. It was like really awesome because it realized to me like halfway through the conversation that we are actually really cool because I'm picturing expert as the sort of like a mentor, and you're just like the beginning spooky.
Mm-hmm.
So this conversation was like really cool.
It was really nicely done. And I liked how you used your magic. I think it was fun and interesting and, again, subtle. But I'm glad I really liked that moment when Lars and Preston kind of were in that jinx together and that got moved across. I thought that was really, really cool. Pavel, I always enjoy playing with you. You're always a fantastic role player, but you're also you're very generous with how you play. So you're always there kind of helping to make sure everyone's getting their moments. And I think that's such a good sign of a great role player. I liked having Lars be, a very kind of business in that these are problems. We have to face them. But at the same time, I think we saw a person that does it for the right reasons. And that was really well done as well. So you're always tops in my books, Pavel. So it was, as always, a great pleasure to play with you, and a great pleasure to play with all of you. I hope that those of you who have not played with Gauntlet much before will play with us some more. There's plenty of opportunities. I hope I get to play with you again. Folks at home, if you would like to play with Gauntlet, gauntlet-rpg.com is where you can find us. And if you liked this session here, well, watch more.